far. President Trump has just told a group at the Economic Club of Detroit,
I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. And all I say to them is help is on its way. You saw that I put tariffs on anybody doing business with Iran. Just went into effect today.
The president has been briefed on a wide array of military and covert tools that can be used against Iran that go well beyond conventional airstrikes, according to two Defense Department officials who spoke to CBS News under condition of anonymity. A shakeup among federal prosecutors. CBS's Scott McFarlane has the latest from Washington.
There's been a mass resignation inside the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. Multiple employees who have left the job. The concern, according to multiple sources speaking with CBS News, is the lack of a Civil Rights Division investigation of that fatal shooting in Minneapolis involving a federal agent.
Protesters and federal agents are repeatedly squaring off after the shooting of Renee Good. Minnesota and the Twin Cities are suing the Trump administration, and as CBS's Lana Zach in Minneapolis reports,
they say all of this is making it more difficult for local law enforcement officials to keep the peace and contributing significantly to overtime costs. It's estimated that police overtime for here in the Twin Cities will tally somewhere around the $2 million range over the course of just 4 days.
The Supreme Court appears likely to uphold state laws that ban transgender athletes from participating in girls' and women's sports, wading for the first time into the contentious issue. Arguments have been heard today. CBS's Katrina Kaufman reports.
What the states want, though, who are arguing here, is they want a broad decision. They don't want the justices to make these case-by-case determinations. They want them to say that these laws are valid, that they are constitutional, and that they should remain in place in all of these states across the country.
Fewer Americans are signing up for Affordable Care Act health insurance plans this year. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
New federal data shows a 3.5% drop in enrollment. That's about 800,000 fewer people selecting plans this year over last. That includes new consumers and existing enrollees opting out. A big part of that is due to the expiring subsidies and rising health care costs. Experts believe enrollment will likely drop further as people receive their first bills this month and choose to cancel.
Stocks are trading lower on Wall Street this afternoon. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to the official 48 Hours After Show post-mortem on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
What Microsoft says it'll do to lessen the impact of its AI ambitions. That's coming up. But first, KIRO News Radio traffic. Here's Nate Connors.
Thanks, Heather. The Pro Shop has our update. We're looking good. Revive I-5 in Seattle isn't even really a big issue. In fact, South 5, just a little crowded in the U District across the Ship Canal Bridge. Linwood to Seattle is down to a 15-minute commute. North 5 jams up just briefly, starting at Lakeview Boulevard. In White Center, crews are quick to clear out that rollover crash westbound on the Highland Parkway just as you head up the hill at West Marginal, so all lanes are back open. And in Newcastle, South 405 is crowded between Coal Creek Parkway and in the VMAC. Nothing heavy, though. It's just 15 minutes between Bellevue and Renton. Other than that, all of our major routes are wide open. If you're looking to hit the passes anytime soon, Stevens, Snoqualmie, White, and Blewett all look great under sunny skies and no restrictions. Gear up for the playoffs. Shop postseason gear in store at Lumen Field or The Landing in Renton. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Heather Bosch. An 18-year-old leads Pierce County deputies on a chase and crashes into two parked vehicles on South Tacoma Avenue. More from KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomi-Bow.
Timothy Sill was jolted awake.
We heard a bang, a boom,
by a high-speed chase ending right outside his window. The red Dodge Charger wrecked two parked cars that brought it to a stop. Deputies say the 18-year-old driver was doing 80 in a 35 on Pacific Avenue, leading them on a nearly 6-mile chase from Spanaway to Tacoma.
It did put a lot of people at risk.
No one was hurt, not even the 18-year-old behind the wheel.
The suspect was booked into the Pierce County Jail on a series of charges, including reckless driving and DUI. Newly released body cam video shows the moment right after a man walking on I-5 knocks a state trooper down and locks himself in her patrol car. It happened Christmas Day. The suspect took off. Another trooper drove a car into that stolen cruiser.
Successful
Yeah, that stopped the suspect who was arrested on felony charges. Microsoft is vowing to offset some of the impact of the AI boom, including paying higher utility rates to cover the cost of its data centers, minimizing water use, and foregoing property tax breaks. That's according to a plan the Redmond-based company unveiled today. Microsoft tells the Seattle Times it's trying to address the concerns of cities and towns where it's building or hopes to build those data centers. The Seahawks are cracking down on season ticket holders who are selling their seats for the playoffs. Some received a notice saying their 2026 renewal eligibility might be in jeopardy if they put their tickets on the market. Ticket holder Greg Woodfield tells KIRO 7 TV.
They can't make you not sell them, but if you're going to be selling your tickets like this and you're not going to help out the team right now, then they don't have to renew them.
The Hawks are hosting the San Francisco 49ers at Lumen Field on Saturday, and the Hawks want to ensure the stadium is packed with 12s. Delta Airlines today announcing plans to buy up to 60 Boeing Dreamliner Dash 10s, the largest of the 787 family. Delta now has more than 130 Boeing planes on order. KIRO News Radio weather, partly cloudy today with highs in the upper 50s. It is 57 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Fosh.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
What are you doing? Hi, everybody. Go, get that blood going. Get the blood going. Hi, Angela.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Listen, my body was responding to the moment. This music, your intro music, felt like I'm in a boxing arena.
Okay.
And they were about to call my name, and I just felt like...
Get it going. Yeah. Look at you jumping up.
Or it's just your energy.
That ain't my energy. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Spike O'Neill. Angela Russell is in for Jake Skorheim today. Jake's got some family... we can say this. One of Jake's sons, one of his 4 boys, having the first medical surgery of his life. And I don't want to share too much.
Right.
But Jake's taken time to make sure that his family has all the support they need.
Yes.
As any mom and dad who's got a kid dealing with it. It's not an emergency situation. It's a procedure so many families go through. But I want to first off compliment Jake and the lovely Mrs. Skorheim, who she made this decision, which yes. I commend her, knowing what's best for her family, and him being a smart enough guy to say, yes, dear. The 2 most important words in any relationship, yes, dear. That'll get it done.
Well, let's still lift them up.
And to this company,
yes,
who understands how important it is to allow its employees to care for and give them time to care for the families.
Absolutely.
I love that about it. And when I look at you, I see not just somebody I can't wait to do the show with, but a company that understands the value of its employees. It's rare these days. We just heard the story of Microsoft in the news and what they're going through. We're going to open up the show today with a couple stories about local businesses, treasured local businesses that are calling it a day because of the environment of doing business in Seattle. So welcome to the show, everybody. We've got 3 hours of fun planned for you, stuff that will help you learn about the world, and you can share our views and give us your views on what you think. In fact, let's start with that. Let's go to the text line right now, 888-973-5476. We're bringing you news of the closing of an iconic Seattle eatery. The Blue Star Cafe in Wallingford has announced that after 50 years.
Yes, I have to tell you, I am a foodie, okay? You all should know that. And I don't know if you have that place that doesn't look fancy on the outside, but it has the best food. That is Blue Star. And it's been around for almost half a century. When I tell you they serve fresh squeezed orange juice, and listen, I'm a pancake maker. Like, I make the best banana nut pancakes. I actually prefer theirs. Like, their buttermilk pancakes are legit. Okay. And so I took my kids these places. So I'm sure you've had a place, like I said, it looks like the, kind of modest on the outside.
Sure,
but you go in and it's extraordinary. And it's so sad because we're seeing so many places like this that are having to close down, particularly after 2025 and the new laws that went into effect. So I wanted to put it out on the text line, 888-973-5476. I think Spike already mentioned this, but let us know, have you had a favorite place close? And I didn't know if I wanted to give you a chance to weigh in, but I also want to ask this question.
Sure.
Is the model broken? I was looking at, let's go back to the 90s for a minute.
Okay.
Back in the 90s, there were 300 to 400,000 restaurants in America. Do you know how many we have now?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. So 30, 35 years from later, we had how many?
300 to 400,000 restaurants
in America. Through consolidation and the loss of small, probably half that. Maybe.
Oh, no. More than 1 million.
Oh, we have more?
We've grown.
Oh,
and so
okay,
I guess my question is the bubble, no, I'm just wondering, is the bubble, like, is this model broken with so many people working at these places and the places that own them struggling to keep up with labor costs, rising rent, those kind of things?
Oh, this is a great question.
Isn't it interesting?
See, because I looked at this, how hard it is to do business in the state of Washington in general.
Totally.
And when you're in the restaurant business, you're already in one of the thinnest margin industries there is. So it's fascinating to me that the number of restaurants has more than doubled in the 30 years, because this is the American dream, is starting your own business. The spirit of entrepreneurship is, the American dream is you can become whatever your ambitions and your skill sets will, and your efforts, you can be anything you want. Except a restaurant owner in Seattle. Because they close down left, right, and center, and we lose a lot of places that we love. I'm sure the texters have given us the places they used to love to go to that are no longer with us.
Salty's on Redondo closed, according to B&P Puyallup. Is that true? Salty's on Redondo. We'll double check.
We'll have to double check. I do trust our texters.
Yeah,
although I will later in the show, there's an incident. I'm going to put something out there that I wrote on social media. I'm going to try to verify it before we print it as gospel. I think the model may be broken. That starting the American dream, we've become so onerous in our municipal taxation policies. That's the right way to phrase that out. And I get it. I get it that the state of Washington, despite its insane number of millionaires and the insane amount of massively large corporate businesses that are in Seattle, we still can't meet a budget. And Jake and I go back and forth on this all the time. It's misuse of funds. I'm not talking about fraud and criminality. I'm talking about just bad management, bad shepherding of our resources that we give the state.
Yeah.
And the answer is always more taxation, more taxation, more taxation.
And that's a whole other thing. So here's a question I have for all of you. If you go back to the 90s, or maybe you're younger, so Laura,
ask your mom.
I want to include you. I mean, how often did you go out to eat back then? I mean, now it has become like a part of life. That when I was a teenager, going out to eat was this special event. Okay. I mean, it was something that did not happen a lot. And now it is kind of a regular thing for everyone to go out to eat. But then the people working at these places are having a hard time affording to live.
Well, that's part of the equation is not just the taxation of business tax and operating P&O taxes and whatnot, liquor taxes, excise taxes that they get on these business owners. It's not just the cost of ingredients, which is going through the roof on a regular basis, up and up and up, all the cost of food itself, the cost of labor. We want to live in communities that can pay a living wage, so we have a service. We've turned to a service or financial-based economy in America. It's hard to argue that we haven't.
Okay, so here, and Laura, I'll get to you one second, but I have to respond to this. So what is the solution? Because here's what I know for sure. When I looked at numbers in terms of how restaurants nationally are doing now versus Seattle, we are underperforming. And specifically, for example, the restaurant closures nationally are at a record low.
Really?
But in Seattle, we're on the increase, and it started last year because, they reduced the tipping credit, the minimum wage went up. And the thing is, I don't think anyone argues that you can't live on the minimum wage here. So, I mean, what is the solution? We know that you get what I'm saying about the conundrum.
I get you. And the fact that other parts of the country are experiencing growth in the restaurant industry while we are seeing a decline.
It's something,
Can it all be tied back to the amount of affordable housing available in this city? And at that point, you get back to the Amazons and the Microsofts and the Googles that moved to town, the Facebooks. They all have corporate headquarters here now, all of them. And they're bringing in this workforce that is, very well paid. A lot of them, they all start at six figures. And some of them, 2 is the first number in that 6 figure. For a lot of these newbies in town.
Drive up the cost.
Yeah. And if you don't have a workforce that can afford to live in your city, you're not going to have a workforce. You can't do business that way. So you got to pay a living wage. All these things, and and not to be cliche, but it's the nickeling and diming of these business owners that cause them, people like, the Blue Star, to close their doors. They want to offer quality food. You can't cut. Where can you cut
fresh
costs in the
squeezed
restaurant?
orange juice.
Yeah.
Fresh squeezed. Yeah, they were doing all of that.
You can't cut costs and expect to have your clientele. Your client base, first off, can't afford to go out to eat. You said, how often do you go out to eat? It used to be a rarity. Now it's not just. It's an affordability rarity nowadays. We can't afford to go out like we used to 10 years ago, 5 years ago. The costs have gone through the roof to go out and eat. I told a story to you. I drove my youngest through a drive-through.
Oh, I love this story, y'all.
Okay, so
pay attention.
And we all know that fast food is becoming less expensive, a less affordable option for people. I took my kid through a McDonald's, and I'm not going to give anything false about this, so I don't mind mentioning their names. Kid was coming home from an event in the city. I picked him up, drove him home, hadn't eaten yet. Let's stop and grab your bike real quick. Go through McDonald's. They want a quarter pounder with cheese. Can you add bacon to it? My kid's a little bit of a spoiled brat, but we had bacon in this quarter pounder with cheese. I don't blame him. Right? And get a regular fry and a milkshake. And the guy says $21.75. I'm like, wait a minute. I said, if you got the right order, I got one burger, one fry, a regular fry, and a shake. $21.75. That was the cost of a burger with bacon, a fry and a shake at McDonald's. How can anybody afford to eat there? How do you feed a family there?
If you're not using the apps or combo deals and you just pay based on like an a la carte order from any of these fast food restaurants,
$25 bill for one person is the norm.
Yeah.
And it's not just McDonald's, right? I imagine that Wendy's or Jack in the Box or whomever else is Taco Bell no better, right? So to your point, we can't. How can we afford to eat at home? There's the inflation numbers for the last month of December were flat, not a huge increase. That was good news for the Trump administration. But the two costs that they factor out of these equations are food and gasoline because they're so volatile. Food costs have still gone up.
Yeah.
Not quite as much as they had been, but they're still going up. Inflation means it's more expensive than yesterday, but just not as much as it was the month before. It's a tough equation to wrap your head around, but the cost of nothing is going down.
Yeah. Speaking of equations, I just want to talk about the nickel and diming that you mentioned earlier because
about how we keep dipping on these owners.
I just started using food delivery apps. I tried my first, so I want to...
Okay. All right. Well, this is a door I can't wait to kick open.
Yes.
Go on.
All right. So I'm in Florida, and I get to the hotel. It's after hours. There's no food around. So I'm like, wait, I could try this food delivery for the first time. And it was pretty reasonable. I ordered like Raising Cane's, and I want to say
it's a fast food chicken
fast
joint,
food
right?
chain,
Yeah,
and
which
it was
we're getting up in
open
the
late.
Northwest soon.
Yes, we are. We're waiting, and I'm wondering, is it permitting that's delaying you guys? But another topic. All right, so fees totaled. I looked at my receipt, about $12. Not bad if you don't want. If I didn't rent a car while I was there, so $12 extra to get my. So
You're paying for the convenience of.
So last night I'm in Seattle, and I'm thinking, hey, we're having a celebration. I don't want to deal with this crazy I-5 traffic. Let me use Uber Eats, and I'm like, oh no. I will be driving to pick it up because there was the Seattle fee. There were all these other fees that, I found out we are the most expensive food delivery in terms of taxes in the country, like double other cities, triple other cities because of these fees. What has been your experience, Laura? Have you been using food delivery longer, and what has been your experience with these Seattle fees?
Angela, it's such a slippery slope because once you start using them, it's really hard to stop using them because that convenience of having like sushi just show up at your apartment in 30 minutes is like, yeah, it's a slippery slope. It is so expensive. It's so expensive. It like $15 to $20 extra on top
of your order. On top of your food order.
And for one person. When I'm DoorDashing just for myself. I'm alone. I don't want to cook dinner for just myself that night. That's when I DoorDash, and it's crazy.
It's amazing. You saw it grow, right, in the last year with this new delivery fee that came into, I think it was $4.99.
Because gig workers fought for the right to have a living wage as well.
Which are needed here.
One of the reasons Seattle delivery services are the most expensive, not just more expensive, the most expensive in the country is because we understand that these workers were being taken advantage of by these big corporations like Uber Eats or DoorDash, whomever they are. They hire these gig workers, and these corporations make big profits on the backs of these drivers who aren't eking out a living. So we want to pay the drivers a living wage. Okay, that dips into the cost of you getting a meal delivered to your house.
Well,
these restaurants are also paying a portion of that. We're talking about, they opened this up with that the Blue Star's closing down, one of many eateries, local treasured eateries that are losing their place in our communities. Part of it is the fact that they have to pay these drivers. That comes out of the restaurant's profit margin, is the fact that we're all chipping in for this convenience. And if it's going to be on the back of the consumer, if you're going to have these services and this economy, it's either going to be on the back of the consumer or it's not. And what's going to go away are these businesses that are operating on these razor-thin margins. They can't afford to stay in business anymore.
Were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say that's what's frustrating is because when they put this into effect in Seattle, they were hoping that it would dig into the upper level profits of corporate.
Of DoorDash, of Uber Eats.
Yeah, and instead they've just
passed it to us.
Passed it straight to us, labeled it
Seattle
regulatory response fees, that we hate the policy and don't look upwards at the fact that they're not eating that cost themselves. They're just passing it straight along to us, which is a way to get us to all repeal this, right?
Yep.
So their profit margin at the corporate level hasn't been dinged at all.
No.
Yeah. And can we agree on something? Or I would love for us to find consensus on this.
Sure.
Tipping when you're getting something delivered, is that, or you're getting takeout?
We're going to need a longer show, Laura. Ask John to sit it out.
Because all I was doing was, I said, you know what, instead of this whole delivery thing, I'm going to get my butt in my car and I'm going to drive the 20 minutes and get the food.
Yes.
But then they were like, well, tip the people packing up your food. And
okay.
And of course, I mean, so I was thinking 10%. But then I've heard other people say, I'm just coming to the counter and getting my food.
You're putting it in a bag. You're not coming to clear my plates. You're not bringing me more water when it runs out. You're not asking me if I need more. No, I'm with you. I don't do 15, 18% on a to-go order. And the fact that they spin that little screen around and give you the option on a to-go order, 10, 15, 18%, 20%. How about custom? How about a buck? Whatever. I get it that they're doing some work and, sure, I'll throw a buck your way. If I'm picking up a meal for an entire family and my to-go order is in excess of $50, $60, I'll throw a $5 thing on there. I'm not doing a percentage of tipping to go. But you mentioned the delivery services. I talk about feeding my kid just driving through the window. My oldest is works here in Seattle, manager of a business, of a bar, and gets home from work at 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. My kid is addicted to getting a DoorDash McMuffin delivered to their home because the breakfast starts at 5. And it's fresh and hot, and DoorDash can have it. My kid lives on Capitol Hill, doesn't drive, right? Walks to work, walks home. There's nothing open close by. I mean, it's a matter of not just convenience, but limited options. My kid pays almost $20 every morning to have a McMuffin delivered to their house.
One McMuffin.
Yeah, well, they may get a couple. I don't know what the story.
Okay.
If they're using like Laura mentioned, the second one for a buck menu. If they're not, they're crazy. It's the only way to make stuff
but it's
affordable.
not like they're not ordering for the whole family.
Right, and they're not getting a bacon and cheese omelet with hash browns on the side and a fresh baked buttermilk that you used to be able to get at the Blue Star, which is going away. No, you're getting carry-out food for $20 a pop. Because people will pay this.
Yeah.
We've become such a society of convenience. I got to have it now. I don't want to get off the couch. I mean, to your point, you're in another city. You didn't rent a car. You're in a hotel district. It's not like you have the ability to go and just step up and do it for yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I'm the delivery guy in my family. When we do eat out, and it's much less often than we used to your question earlier, much less often than we used to be. Yeah. But I'm the guy that goes and picks everything up. I have never paid for a delivery service. I mean, I've had pizza delivered from a pizza place, and that's even been a while since we've done that. And I'll pay that delivery guy a tip, sure. I've never used the DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of those. Never used one.
All right, we're gonna break you one day.
No,
Jack. Is Jacques or Jackie from Kent? Okay, forgive me if I mispronounce your name, but I love your text.
It's pronounced Kent.
No, food delivery drivers as a whole hate the Seattle fees. We make less by a substantial amount. It definitely needs to be repealed. Please make this a subject.
Well, when I go pick up food for my family at a restaurant, and I like to get there early because I don't want it sitting around, I want to order it and get there before it's ready so they can hand me while it's hot. I'm the only guy picking up food there that's not a service.
Wow.
I swear to you, everywhere I go to pick up food, 3, 4, 5 drivers will come in, show them their phone, pick up the order, and go. And I'm the only guy that's actually going to eat the food myself when I pick it up to go. So these services are thriving. Despite the fact that the drivers aren't making a living, that the restaurants are going out of business paying the extra fees, that we as consumers are paying out through the nose, we just can't. We're a society that wants it now as convenient as possible. That's who we are. Well, speaking of,
love that topic.
Yeah. Thank you. Good job. I'm sorry to see that the Blue Star, February 1st,
go
they've
try
announced.
it. Yeah, I'm telling you, the pancakes.
It's in Wallingford.
And they have homemade biscuits, too. Homemade biscuits with this fresh jam, not the packaged jam. Yeah, try it.
When we come back, we'll have our own Chris Sullivan on talking about I-5 and the changes and what we've seen so far and the impacts moving forward. It's the Jake and Spike Show with Angela Poe Russell. We'll be right back.
Seattle's Morning News, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Congressman Adam Smith, the ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee, situation in Minneapolis.
I think this is just the obvious and terrible outcome of the way Trump has approached law enforcement. There seems to be no accountability, and the message going out is do what you got to do. There are no rules. There will be no accountability.
Watch the full interview and subscribe to KIRO Newsradio on YouTube.
If you've saved more than $300,000, you may have a big problem in retirement, and it's taxes. Taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, taxes on your Social Security benefits, taxes on your investment income, and more. And when you add it all up, this could be your largest expense in retirement. That's why it's critical you get in front of this now. Hi, it's Charlie Harger. Discover the strategies that could significantly reduce your taxes in retirement with a free, customized retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, who has 2 locations in Seattle. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 206-210-1350. That's 206-210-1350. Don't overpay your taxes to the government. Call 206-210-1350.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. No statement contained herein should constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
I love the fact that Mike Novak sells more homes than anybody else. This guy works so hard. You know what's happening? People are selling their homes again. And if you don't have Mike Novak's name on that sign, well, you're wasting your time and your house is just going to be sitting on the market. Mike is so confident that he can sell your house quickly. And for more, you'll pay no commission if Mike Novak doesn't sell that home in 21 days. So go to meetthenovaks.com. I'll spell Novaks for you. Novaks. Meetthenovaks.com.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. It's our clearance savings spectacular, and you don't want to miss it. We're slashing prices on all 2025 hot tubs, saunas, and swim spas. Even bigger savings on floor models ready for delivery. And here's the best part, 0% interest financing through 2031. That's right, no interest for 5 years. Ends January 25th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub. Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Washington, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation, so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
No heat, electrical issues, frozen pipes, no power? John Curley here, recommending you call Home Comfort Alliance. For over 40 years doing heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical right, including standby generators. Call the comfort people at homecomfortalliance.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. Washington state lawmakers are advancing a bill that would limit when officers, including ICE agents, can cover their faces in public. More from KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey.
The bill is designed to prohibit ICE and border agents from wearing masks during immigration raids. Anyone detained by an officer who violates that rule could then file a civil lawsuit seeking damages and attorney's fees. U.S. Attorney Pete Serrano says the bill threatens federal agents.
As of last fall, doxing increased by 1,000% and 8,000% death threats to our members of law enforcement community.
A similar law in California is now being challenged in federal court as unconstitutional. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Some Democrats in the U.S. House want to know if people pardoned in the January 6th insurrection are now working for ICE. CBS's Scott McFarland.
CBS News has learned that the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee submitted an inquiry to the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice on Monday night, asking for employment logs to see if any pardoned January 6 rioters are now working behind masks for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It's the latest level of controversy stemming from those January 2025 pardons of 1,500 plus January 6 rioters.
The Republican House Oversight Committee chair says he is filing contempt of Congress proceedings against former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary Hillary Clinton after they refused to testify before Congress about Jeffrey Epstein. Democrats claim this isn't about the Epstein files, that Republicans are just trying to shift the focus off President Trump's friendship with the late sex trafficker. The U.S. Supreme Court is hearing arguments on whether states can ban transgender athletes from competing on girls' and women's teams. An attorney for a 15-year-old West Virginia track and field athlete argues Becky Pepper Jackson transitioned before going through male puberty.
And if the evidence shows there are no relevant physiological differences between BPJ and other girls, then there's no basis to exclude her.
Inflation is up nationwide, and it's even higher in the greater Seattle area. Nationally, prices rose 2.7% overall, but in the Seattle area, the Consumer Price Index increased 3.1% over the past year. Food went up 4.4%. Energy prices advanced a whopping 7.2%. On Wall Street right now, the Dow is down because of inflation worries. It's off 398 points. NASDAQ is down 72. KIRO News Radio traffic. Here's Nate Connors.
Thank you, Heather. Southbound 405, we're stop and go between Factoria and Northeast 44th near the VMAC, where it looks like we recently cleared a blocking issue. All lanes are open, so this backup should begin to thin out now. Bellevue to Renton right now is going to take you about 20 minutes. Heading into Seattle, South 5, just a little crowding through the U District, otherwise looking good. Got another thick backup in downtown, though, between Mercer and Denny Way, where it looks like we've got a new crash taking up the two center lanes. Linwood to Seattle right now is at 20 minutes. North 5, you're going to jam up near Mercer across the Ship Canal Bridge, and the First Avenue South Bridge is in the up position right now, so traffic is stacking up approaching the bridge from both directions. The rest of our map wide open. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio weather, partly cloudy today with highs in the upper 50s. It is 57 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show with Angela Poe Russell. And as we love to do this time of day, we bring in our conduit, Captain Choke Point, Chris Sullivan, talk about the news that affects traffic, that affects your life. And of course, we want to talk about the project on I-5 and how that's evolving for the next year or
That's
two.
a nice word, evolving.
I was going to say devolve, but I'm going to be pejorative. Okay, but before we start, there is one thing I want to ask you about. There's an idea that Jay came up with just off the cuff yesterday, and I want to ask your take on this with regard to how we pay. I know you're working on a choke point about how we're paying for these road improvements and all the things we need to happen to our roadways. Jake had a concept. Why are we double dipping? If you pay property taxes, you're already paying for these projects like Sound Transit. You're paying for the commuter lanes. Why don't taxpayers who pay property taxes, why don't they get a pass, an Orca card, or whatever it may be, that lets you use a commuter lane or a public transit for free.
So in other words, if I own a house, I automatically have a pass that lets me use whatever the best lane is out there.
I know you've got the ear of the legislature.
Wow, I've never heard of something framed that way. It's very interesting. It certainly helps those of us that are a little higher in the economic scale than
we're
many
the ones
others.
paying for these projects through property taxes.
But you could argue if someone is renting, they are therefore paying the mortgage of whoever owns that property. So they are contributing to the overall economic well-being.
You and your common sense rational shooting holes in my fun.
Well, first of all, I'm just loving this civil discourse
because
you threw out this idea, and I'm sure folks are like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "It's an interesting idea."
Well, I'm thinking trying to clear it through my head because I never really thought of that question.
Yeah, it was an interesting idea when Jake threw it out there, but they're double dipping, aren't they?
Yeah, true. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I get it, but then we've also, that would be changing the rules in the middle of the game because the gas tax has always been set up to do one thing. That doesn't say we can't change it.
Every time they slap on a toll or raise a toll, aren't they already changing the rules?
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's interesting. I'm going to have to call up a KIRO listener, Representative Jake Fye from Gig Harbor. He listens to our show every day. Our station as well every day. He's the head of the Transportation Commission. Just be like, dude, here's what's happening. That's interesting. I really don't know how to answer.
It's a class issue for sure. Like if you can afford to buy a home, then you get better.
I mean, trust me, as a self-made millionaire, I'd be all for this.
But don't they kind of do that with tolls though? I mean, if you make $100,000 a year, you're going to pay the same toll as someone who is making $50,000 a year.
Well, except for the express toll lanes, because somebody who makes $100,000 can afford as a single to buy for $15. Where the person making 50 probably can't.
Yeah.
And that's just the rich being able to bypass life in general. That's another way of class separation.
Well, I don't know if my money can get me out of this cluster we got going on.
All right, let's have an idea.
Let's talk about that.
Let me use my manager speak. Let's table that for now.
Let's put a pin in it.
And circle back. I don't even know what any of those things even. No, that's very interesting. I wish I had a good take on it. I just don't really. I haven't really thought about it, so I don't want to say something really silly, but it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, because I get it, because, I mean, you end up paying a lot. You're paying for the schools, you're paying for the roads already.
Yeah, we are.
With your property taxes and things. But I still also believe that when you're using the roads, you're also doing damage to the roads as you drive based on the vehicle that you have, the weight of your car, and something needs to account for that. So I could see still paying that because I paid for it, I could just never use it, but I'm doing damage to the road by actually driving. Yeah. So I could still see wanting to pay. Well, that's true. So yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm not sure if I would totally be on board, but it's certainly something to look at.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's talk
about... if it means less money for the legislature, I know who isn't involved. Governor Ferguson probably wants more money, but we'll get to that in a minute.
All right, so we're day 2. Well, actually, we're probably work week for a lot of people. How did it go today? Here's what I noticed. I noticed just the side streets were more cluttered, or for example, in one street, there were 3 times that the light cycled through, and I didn't move.
Wow. Okay, were you on which side of the I-5 were you on? East or west?
Oh, gosh, come on.
East side.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
I monitor your progress.
Okay, good. So yeah, and again, Tuesday's a heavier day in terms of volume than Monday was. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday typically have more cars on the road than we do on Mondays and Fridays. So I saw similar things. 99, for instance, backed up a little bit faster today as an alternate to I-5. And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I-5 is down to 2 lanes northbound on I-5 across the Ship Canal Bridge. 2 left lanes are blocked, and because of that, the northbound the express lanes on I-5 are northbound 24/7. The impact of that really during the morning is that there are no express lanes going southbound. So all of those people who would normally use them are on the main line. And that has created what we saw this morning, close to an hour and 50-minute trip from Everett to Seattle. An hour and a half of that was from Linwood, and about an 8-mile backup. That was pretty similar to what we saw yesterday. What we did see today was a few more people and more consistently going to 405. For people out of Snohomish County, they made the decision early to not even bother with I-5, and they started on 405 a little earlier.
Yeah.
Lake City Way didn't quite back up as much as it had yesterday. In fact, Nate Connors, our good friend, drove down Lake City Way. He said it wasn't quite as bad as yesterday. But again, this is day 2. People are feeling it out. We've got 5 months of this. before a little break and then another 5 months. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But definitely, and the positive thing for the second day in a row, northbound I-5 getting into the city from Federal Way was 10 to 15 minutes faster than a typical commuting day. So that's great because there's no forced merge at the express lanes because they're open northbound. Now the backup past the station here, getting up to the Ship Canal Bridge, about 2 miles, about 15, 16 minutes.
That's my morning
and that's
hit
kind
every
of
day.
what it's kind of materialized in. But boy, if you're coming in from Federal Way right now, you're thinking this is great.
This is great. What are you talking about, Sully?
Now getting out of the Seahawk game Saturday night,
that's another.
You're going to have serious issues because if you think about it, if you're coming out, say the Stadium District, and you're taking what Edgar Martinez or what turns into that, you automatically go into the CD lanes there. You can't access the northbound express lanes.
No, not from that point. No.
So if you're leaving the game and you need to head north, I would suggest driving south into Georgetown and getting onto I-5.
That's my secret.
Then using the express lanes from there.
What if people did 90 and then got to 405 maybe?
Well, I mean, that's the obvious way. I mean, you could do that and go north if you're...
but those of us who live just north of the city, Chris is right.
Sorry, I just gave away your...
That's okay. I'm happy to help. Not a problem.
So, that's also another... But that's something I'm sure people probably aren't thinking about yet.
Yeah.
We're just thinking about hooray, Seahawks. But that's something to think about in terms of getting out of the game and really getting into it, too, because...
linger and enjoy that post-game experience a little longer.
And get there super early and hang out with a bunch of optimistic Hawk fans. I mean, and then carry it through the end of the game. It's good. That's the best way to do it.
By the way, you saw that they're cleaning up the Hawk Alley?
Oh, really?
Just north of what used to be it's the Starbucks building. It used to be the Sears building.
Yeah.
It was a notorious tailgating area that has been overtaken by trailers. Now, I saw this on social media. I'm not sure. I'll have to verify it. I shouldn't have brought it to the air. But they're going to clear out and clean up Hawk Alley prior to the postseason.
Interesting.
So that tailgaters can enjoy what we've had for decades of tradition of tailgating down by the stadium.
So kind of like the old days where we all used to rush to try to get down to the viaduct and park under the viaduct for free and open up the rear ends there and just start going to town.
Yeah, that sounds like a refreshing idea. So I hope it's actually happening.
I'll look into it and verify.
Yeah, check that out.
That would be awesome.
That'd be kind of interesting. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the people in their RVs, but
it's nice to see new parts of the city every once in a while. It's like when the vice president comes to town or an all-star game.
You just clean up your house.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good.
Coming.
Yeah, find that out. That's pretty good.
I'll
like
let you guys know. Chris Sullivan, thank you so much as always. All right, we'll be right back after these, folks. Don't go anywhere.
He's the new face of Seattle radio.
Wait, it's the same dude, only his face is new? Okay, got it.
Isn't John supposed to be back today?
Ursula, that is John.
Where on his body they're filling that face from?
Looking good, John. Remember, ice packs are your best friend.
Man, it is hard to do a radio show with a bag on your head.
The same John Curley you know and love with a brand new face. Literally. See for yourself on the KIRO Newsradio YouTube page.
Did you know 25% of your home's heat loss is through your attic? Jake Skorheim here. When hot air rises, if your attic isn't properly insulated, that hot air is going to go right through your ceiling and out your old roof. That sounds cold and expensive. So if your furnace is working overtime, it's time to call Valentine. And right now, Valentine has a great winter special. Bundle attic insulation with any new roof, and you'll save an additional 10% off your entire project. Just call 206 Roofing, and remember, when you see the red Valentine vans, you know your home is in good hands.
John Curley here. You know that moment when your house feels colder than it should? You turn up the thermostat and nothing? For over a decade, I've trusted the team at Home Comfort Alliance. They show up when they say they will, and they get straight to work, and they do it right. They've been keeping homes comfortable for over 40 winters. Remember, for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, including standby generators, call the Comfort People. Home Comfort Alliance, or visit homecomfortalliance.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Well, the wet, chilly weather has certainly arrived. It's Mike Salk here, and if your attic and crawl space are well insulated, your home should be fine. Should feel cozy and warm without your furnace having to work overtime. But you'd be surprised to learn how many homes in Western Washington lack insulation in these spaces. It's why you call Crawl Pros. If you're feeling cold drafts or seeing that heating bill spike, now's a great time to learn if you got anything going on behind that crawl space or attic by calling Crawl Pros. They'll come out to your house just like they did to mine, do the corner-to-corner inspection. In my case, they found the problem, showed me the pictures, and then they got it all fixed. Now, if they do discover your home is under or improperly insulated, they'll show you all the utility rebates that are available to help you get the work done correctly. Like if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could get a rebate to cover up to 95% of the cost of the insulation job. If you're worried anything is going on in your crawl space or attic, including critters, water intrusion, mold, plumbing issues, anything, call Crawl Pros and schedule your free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
See country star Aaron Lewis and the State Liners at Muckleshoot Casino Resort, March 24th at 8 p.m. And now an added show on March 25th. He's a multi-platinum artist whose raw lyrics and powerhouse vocals have captivated fans for decades. Now he and his band, the State Liners, are coming to Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Get your tickets now to see Aaron Lewis at muckleshootcasino.com.
I had pain, I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
An organized home is a happy home and a happy homeowner. John Curley here. Closets by Design made me and my home happy. Experience the quality and backing of a national brand with friendly local Seattle service. From booking the appointment to a free in-home consult to installation day, Closets by Design will leave you wowed and clutter-free. Right now, get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off and 18 months financing and free installation. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to schedule today.
Take the next step to becoming a Seahawks season ticket holder. Join the season ticket holder notification list to secure your spot in line. By signing up, you'll be the first to know when space becomes available on the official Blue Pride waitlist. Plus, receive team news, special ticket offers, and more. Visit Seahawks.com/season tickets to sign up today.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Angela Poe Russell in for Jake Skorheim. Did you see that porn did really well at the Golden Globes?
The what?
Porn did really well at the Golden Globes.
I missed that.
Yes.
Please enlighten me.
Competency porn.
Oh.
That's the newest term being floated around. There's an article in the Washington Post about what we like on television, what we always have, but they're having a moment. Competency porn. I want to say this correctly. We love seeing competent people performing difficult tasks. More so than
clearly
ever.
In fantasy world and not in real life.
Well, that's the thing. We're not, and I think that's why it's having such a moment. Shows like what is
The Good Doctor?
The Good Doctor is.
I love that.
What's the one about the
Pit?
The Pit.
Is that what you're thinking of?
The Pit won Best Show and Best in a Drama and Best Actor in a Drama Series for Noah Wyle.
What's it about?
The Pit is about a hospital in Pittsburgh called The Pit. That's the nickname of the hospital. Noah Wiley, who came to prominence on, I'm having such a senior moment.
It's okay. I'll share my caffeinated drink with you.
Well, George Clooney.
Okay, got it.
He was an actor getting work, but then when ER hit, George Clooney became massive. Julia Margulies on The Good Wife. Competency shows about the legal system, Good Business shows, Successor, those kind of shows. The Pit.
Yeah.
People love seeing professionals excelling in difficult situations, and we love the flawed characters that they present sometimes in these shows. They have the one who's the bad egg, he's a great doctor, but he's a womanizer. We love that flawed hero. That's a whole nother genre. But I think to your point, we see it in fantasy and in entertainment because we're not seeing it enough in real life.
Yes, and that can apply in so many different arenas, right? I mean, I think we've all been on jobs and you're just like, you look at someone, you're just like, why,
Yeah.
And then I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry, not sorry. But I think in the political arena, we're seeing a lot of incompetence. You can disagree on policies, procedures, but not being qualified is a problem. Here's what I want to know. Why are we so getting out of that point that I just made? Why do so many of us in general like seeing really, really smart people do these incredible things for a purpose? You know what I thought of? Doogie Howser. Do you remember Doogie?
Yes.
Do you remember? Okay, you were probably not born.
This is before my time. Sorry.
Okay,
is it the good doctor, the kid with autism? Is that
yes?
Is that,
oh my
right.
gosh, that
Another
show was
one.
amazing.
Young guy, incredible, brilliant mind, overcoming a challenge. Why do we love seeing stuff like that? Why do we love Doogie Howser? Because we all feel. I think it's safe to say, I think you need a high self-esteem, high opinion of self. Right, that's your id. We all need that to survive. You have to have confidence in yourself. When people don't have self-assurance, self-confidence, it can be real detrimental to your success and your life in general. So we all have this idea that we could do that. If we'd have chosen that field, I could have been a good doctor. I could have been a good lawyer. You see these characters, right?
That could be me.
Right? No, I think we've all done that.
I don't think that if I see a hot person, though, I'm
not talking about, I don't know. Have you seen John Curley today? Anything is possible. No, I really do think that we all feel like we can relate to, guys watch sports and relate so well to sports because we used to play sports. And we think, you know what? I could have done that. If I'd have chosen that, if I'd have worked out, if I'd have stuck with it, I probably could have been a blah, 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 blah. We all delude ourselves into thinking this.
Yeah.
I couldn't be a doctor. I got these hands. I got ham hands, literally. I have these big, thick,
maybe
stupid
orthopedic,
hands.
You can go break stuff. I don't know.
I went to school for psychology and sociology.
Oh.
Initially, that was
Which is why you just dropped the id. I was like, wow, he just dropped the id.
But I tell you what, though, I didn't graduate with a degree. I spent about 3.5 years pursuing that before I gave it up because I wasn't really taking it seriously. I learned more about human nature and psychology behind a bar than I ever did in a classroom. I was a bartender for a long time before I got into radio. Okay. But I say all that to say this. We love these smart people accomplishing great things. I think because they're, to your point, we miss that in everyday life. We see so many examples of people who aren't competent, who are excelling, and we like to be reassured that there are smart people out there. Yeah. There are people that we need to be competent who are competent, even if he's only on Cinema or HBO or Cinemax or Stars or wherever it might be. It's nice to see they are out there.
I have one other theory.
Sure, bring it.
I think sometimes in life when things can feel out of control or, maybe you're dealing with your own health issue or you're dealing with family instability, there's something about seeing the world go right. There's something like when I watched The Good Doctor for the first time and saw someone, who was injured and they're about to die and someone just saved him, it made me feel safe. Now, I'll give you one other example.
Go ahead.
We know sex trafficking, huge issue, right? In this country,
absolutely.
In the world. And
just up the street from the station, you bet.
Yes, and I remember watching The Equalizer with Denzel Washington, the first one, and it made me feel like we were doing. There was something about seeing him beat the bad guys. Like
that was the teenager who was working with the Russian mob control.
Exactly.
That's I'm trying to remember which Equalizer it was.
There was something about seeing him beat the system, beat the bad guys, pummel them, and it made me, even though it was fantasy, and even though I know it's still a problem in the real world, it made me feel like the world is okay.
You're not wrong. That's a very nuanced and educated point of view to take. You know, we talked about this before on the show, and Laura confirmed that the reason that women are the biggest audience for these crime drama shows and podcasts.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Because women like to see bad guys get caught.
Yes.
And these podcasts and these TV shows, they all have resolution and justice prevails.
You want a happy
bad guys
ending.
getting caught. And when you're someone in society who feels, like it's a dangerous place to live, it's nice to see bad guys get their due.
Amen.
Right on,
Clock
right?
it, as the Gen Zers say.
There you go. Clock it. Oh, I like to write that down. All right, folks, when we come back, we'll talk about the international and immigration and ICE and all these things that are in the news today. We'll be more with that right after these.
After a slugfest to win the NFL's toughest division, the number 1 seed Seahawks' first playoff opponent, naturally an NFC West rival.
And Purdy goes down inside the 15-yard line.
Seahawks, 49ers, Saturday. And Lumen will be rocking.
All teed up.
The road to the Super Bowl runs through Seattle. And KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM and the KIRO Newsradio app.
At Bible Law Group, we understand what it means to be local legal representation. From shopping at the Bon Marché, picking up gear at Chubby and Tubby, crying for Joey Cora, now for Cal, grabbing a burger while JP Patches clowns by. We live here and fight for you. That's why Bible Law gives local representation to those facing legal problems too big for prayers, even if you can't pronounce Squim or Puyallup. Our legal team has secured more than $40 million in settlements for our clients. We're ready to fight for you. Find us online at BibleLawGroup.com.
More than 4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide a lifeline to breast and gynecologic cancer patients, and you can help us make a difference. Join us for Cork, Fork, and Support, an afternoon of wine tasting and inspiration on January 31st at Mary Hill Winery in Woodinville's Wine Country. Get your tickets now for Cork, Fork, and Support. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-897-4400. That's 800-897-4400.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign. And so I saw the accident coming and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, Sound Path Through Retirement, with Ben Koval and Matt Leibarger. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and noon on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Paid political announcement.
More than half of short-term rentals across Washington are booked by Washingtonians. Families traveling for their children's tournaments and games. firefighters fighting wildfires, traveling nurses providing critical care. Every day, short-term rentals are helping make travel more affordable. Legislators in Olympia are considering increasing taxes on short-term rentals. But with the cost of everything going up, we can't take another price increase. Keep travel affordable for us. Paid for by Airbnb helps our state thrive host pack.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. A number of prosecutors in the Minneapolis U.S. Attorney's Office are resigning in protest of recent orders regarding the ICE-related shooting death of Renee Good. WCCO's Susie Jones has more.
6 federal prosecutors, including Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson, resigned after being pressured into investigating the widow of Renee Good, who was shot and killed by an ICE agent last week. University of Minnesota law professor David Schultz says he understands their position.
They have a duty to uphold justice and not to engage in any type of frivolous or malicious action.
Thompson was the top prosecutor of federal fraud cases in the state, the governor calling him a principled public servant. Susie Jones for CBS News, Minneapolis.
The Trump administration has tried to freeze funds for programs including child care subsidies, cash assistance, and job training for poor families with children. The administration says it's rooting out fraud, but some state leaders say the motivation is political, with 5 Democratic-led states a special focus of attention. The president addressed this while in Detroit today.
Starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens.
Money had been on hold for California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, and New York. Anti-government protests in Iran roll into another day, with phone lines opening back up for calls from inside the Islamic Republic. 2 sources, including one inside Iran, have told CBS News that at least 12,000 and possibly as many as 20,000 people have been killed. President Trump has posted on social media that help is on the way. Sources say he has been briefed on military and covert options for Iran. The Environmental Protection Agency is weakening air pollution standards for power plants and says it will no longer consider the health impacts of some deadly pollutants. CBS's Allison Keyes.
The EPA says it will increase the levels of nitrogen oxide allowed for newly constructed power plants. That will allow higher emissions of PM 2.5, which experts say is the nation's deadliest air pollutant, which can travel through the lungs and infiltrate the bloodstream. The change is part of the Trump administration's larger goal of slashing regulations, but some experts say the change would increase premature deaths by tens of thousands annually.
Director Timothy Busfield turns himself in to New Mexico authorities after being sought on child sex abuse charges. December's Consumer Price Index shows no change from the month before at 2.7%. Stocks have closed down on Wall Street. The Dow today plunged 398 points. The Nasdaq fell 24, and the S&P 500 slipped 14. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS News Roundup on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
New numbers about the homes damaged by last month's historic flooding. But first, Nate Connors with KIRO News Radio Traffic.
All right, Heather, Seattle Sports has our update. Tell you what, all of our major roadways right now are wide open as we start off the 1 o'clock hour. Our only backups really are right here through downtown Seattle. So South 5 near Olive Way, that earlier collision is now on the right shoulder, and that backup is quickly clearing, but it's still a little crowded from Lake City Way to the seam. 20 minutes between Linwood and Seattle. North 5, you're going to jam up just past Mercer across the Ship Canal Bridge, where Revive I-5 blocks 2 left lanes. That lasts through June. The Mukilteo Clinton ferry service is starting back up after a 4-hour scheduled closure for dock repairs in Mukilteo. So the 1 o'clock sailing is underway now out of Mukilteo, and then next up the 1:30 departure from Clinton. Then we're back on schedule. Washington State ferries will rinse and repeat these closures again Friday morning. Search Seattle Sports on YouTube and click subscribe to get fresh video content daily. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. We're getting a better idea of how many King County homes and businesses were damaged by last month's flooding. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin is talking with emergency managers.
KCEM says 396 people reported damage to their homes and 62 businesses reported damage as well.
The first stage is really collecting that information, finding out what's been damaged, how much it's been damaged, if it's minor, moderate, major, or catastrophic, destroyed. And then getting people access to the resources.
He tells us there are still funds available for people who need help.
That help available through county and state. The CEO of Seattle-based Redfin is stepping down after 20 years. Glenn Kelman says it was his decision. The Seattle Times reports the head of Rocket Companies, which recently bought Redfin, will serve as interim chief. We now have body cam video of the Christmas Day carjacking of a Washington state trooper. It happened after troopers approached a man who was walking on I-5.
Yeah, get off the road. Here, get off the road. Please, bro.
The man opens a trooper's car door and slams her to the ground.
No!
The suspect drives off, but another patrol car bumps into the stolen car, stopping it with a pit maneuver. The suspect was arrested on felony charges. State lawmakers are considering a bill to allow privately owned labs to examine evidence in DUI cases.
The bill aims to prevent cases from going uncharged because of backlogs at the state lab. Seattle City Attorney Erica Evans says for DUIs, it currently takes 22 months to get lab results back.
Which means that if someone commits a DUI today in Seattle, it won't be until the end of the summer of 2027 that we can actually file charges in that case.
James McMahon with the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs says more money and resources would also solve the backlog issue. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Having a tough time finding Seahawks playoff tickets? The Washington State Lottery is raffling off 9 pairs of tickets plus parking for Saturday's game at Lumen Field. Lottery Director Brian Bennett tells me to enter, buy a $10 scratch ticket from lottery workers in the Tacoma Mall courtyard this afternoon.
Tickets can only be purchased with cash. So 4 to 6:30 with cash at the Tacoma Mall.
The live drawing happens at 6:45 this evening. KIRO News Radio weather, partly cloudy today with highs in the upper 50s. It's 57 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Spike O'Neill in with Angela Poe Russell. Jake Skorheim's taking a day today. Heather just said that the Washington State Lottery is raffling off some Seahawks playoff tickets.
The parking part intrigues me. I was like, I could go to a game and get parking?
With parking?
What?
But I think she really buried the lead in that story, though. The Tacoma Mall still open? What? Sorry. I'm sorry. Couldn't resist. If you got cash and you're between 4:30 and 6 today at Tacoma Mall, you have to be on play. That's wonderful for folks. We'll have a story coming up about a half an hour. We'll talk about Seahawks football and about the tickets to the game, what they're asking of Seahawks season ticket holders, the NFL is. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we'll talk that in about half an hour. Right now, let's focus our attention on immigration and ICE and the news that's kind of engulfed the nation for the last week. We're talking, of course, about the shooting of Renee Good at the hands of ICE enforcement officer Jonathan Ross in Minneapolis. And we've all seen the video, and we're not debating fault or intent of either party. That is been beat to death. Pardon.
I totally get it.
Yeah,
it happens.
It has been overused. I apologize for that poorly chosen vernacular. I think all parties involved should wait for an investigation to take place. But that being said, now we get into the real issues that I think America faces at this, I would call a crossroads in our history. Heather has been giving us news updates, and we'll get them, of course, today. CBS National News is also. It has been reported that 4 top officials at the DOJ's division that investigates police killings have resigned in protest after the Trump appointee, Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmit Dillon, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, refused to investigate the murder of Renee Good at the hands of Agent Jonathan Ross.
This was a Trump appointee.
A Trump appointee has decided that they're not going to pursue a civil rights investigation into this shooting. And I don't know how you justify that.
In addition, several prosecutors and federal prosecutors in Minneapolis have resigned. They were very upset that they were being asked to investigate the widow of Renee Good while not investigating the incident itself and the piece about the use of force.
Exactly.
And so you want us basically to investigate the widow and not investigate this piece. And at least, is it 4 of them that resigned? 4 or 5?
6 federal prosecutors resigned.
6 of them resigned.
Over being told to focus their investigations on, as you mentioned, the widow of the slain Renee Good. And this is the woman, we've seen so many different camera angles, different, whether it's a body cam, no, what even a body cam, it was a cell phone cam.
Because they don't have
Ross.
body cams.
They don't have which is part of the issue itself.
Body cams were there to protect everybody.
Accountability,
and so
yes.
not having them is an interesting choice. And I think
a choice.
A choice.
Yeah, it wasn't for lack of
it's
funding.
Not for
because
lack of money.
As we've learned in this last big beautiful bill budgeting agreement between legislators in Washington, and you can say whether it's appropriate or not, but ICE has had their budget increased tenfold. ICE now has immigration and customization enforcement has a larger budget than the United States Marine Corps.
Right.
And those guys have tanks.
Well, we identified this when I say we as a country identified illegal immigration as a major issue. I mean, it became a huge campaign platform for both parties saying, no, we want to fix the issue at the border. I mean, my overall question is if most of us agree that we were having too much illegal immigration. I think 2 to 3 million people a year. Now, some of them were legal, but I'm just saying, let's say we have 2 to 3 million immigrants coming in every year, putting strain on resources, all kinds of things. If we all agree that's a challenge, what is the best way to go about solving it? Mm-hmm. And right now, this way, it appears, I mean, not even appears, according to facts, is by force. And you actually have sound of even U.S. citizens being picked up off the street against their will, identifying themselves and offering to show a passport. But I don't know if you're able to pull that up. Is that Laura?
We have that. There's a press conference was held by a U.S. citizen who was detained by ICE. And he gave a press conference this morning, I believe.
And detained is a nice word.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm trying to be non-judgmental about these things. And Laura, play this and we'll have a discussion afterward.
My name is Mubashir, and I never expected to be standing in front of all these cameras and microphones. But what happened to me cannot stay quiet. What happened to me was unjust, uncalled for. I was simply on my lunch break. I literally went downstairs from my building. I wasn't even outside for mere seconds before I seen a masked person running at me full speed. He tackled me, pushed me inside the restaurant, like as you can see in the video. I told him I'm a U.S. citizen, what is going on? He didn't seem to care. He dragged me outside through the snow while I was handcuffed, restrained, helpless, and he pushed me to the ground and he put me in a chokehold. And after that, they put me inside the vehicle. And they asked me, we have to verify if you're a U.S. citizen because I believe you're an illegal citizen because you ran from me. But as you can see in the videos that will be released, I'm simply just standing still. The agent then, at one point, he didn't identify himself. He didn't say, ICE, stop. Like, I felt like I was getting assaulted. I was getting kidnapped, and that's exactly what it was. And the way they were treating me, it was inhumane. They dragged me across the road, they slammed me to the ground, choked me, and I told the agent, he asked my passport copy, and he said, we don't care, we're still taking you in. And if this is what's happening to a U.S. American citizen on camera, imagine what could happen to your loved ones when there's no one around to witness what they're doing.
So, I appreciate that clip being made available to us. When we're asking these questions of our government, which I think we don't just have the right to, we have the duty to ask questions and to hold our elected officials accountable. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care who's sitting in the office. Accountability to the people is who we are as representative democracy, okay, as constitutional republic. When we talk about issues of immigration, but I think both sides would agree that we need a solid immigration policy and immigration reform in this country. There's an immigration problem.
And we need to enforce it. I mean, and I have agreed with some of the policy change, some of them and some parts of them.
Sure.
But threatening people?
When the president ran on an immigration enforcement policy, which won a majority of voters and won him the re-election. I guess it's a re-election. It's not consecutive. But anyway, won his election. Promised to go after the worst criminals on our streets. But when we see, and by DOJ's own accounts, 70% of people who are detained by ICE do not have criminal, violent, or even criminal records. They have civil offenses of illegal entry or illegal occupancy in America. And that's a different discussion to have, whether that's enough of a crime to be detained by force by ICE, because that's not what they ran on. And it seems to be, for the large part, 7% of people don't have that record. That's not what they're doing. They're going these large sweeps of force and intimidation. In a lot of cases, we have another piece of tape we can play of a man who was in Minnesota. This latest push into Minnesota. We can discuss the onus behind that. Focus on Minnesota, particularly by the administration at this moment in time. I've already picked cities like Chicago, cities like I think Memphis was one of they targeted. These large American cities, D.C., where the city comes in, with L.A., of course, have these massive immigration populations. But let's play this clip of this American citizen who was driving through Minnesota and was following an ICE operation. I guess I'm not trying to describe it, pejoratively. Following ICE, and this is what an ICE officer came up and said to this person in his car. We have tape of this.
This is your warning. This is your warning.
For what?
Stop following us. You are impeding operations. This is the United States federal government.
I live over here. I got to get to my house.
This is your warning.
Got to get to my house.
Go home to your kids.
Go to church.
Go to your kids. This is your last warning.
I serve the Lord.
I will arrest you.
Let the people.
I guarantee you're not going to like the outcome. Go home to your children. It's Sunday.
Yeah, go exactly. Let people go to church.
You did not learn from what just happened? Go home to your kids.
That is a chilling phrase. Did you not learn what just happened? Did you not learn anything from what just happened?
That was a threat. Like, I'll kill. Like, we'll kill you too.
Yeah, and we're gonna. But what is someone supposed to think? Did you not learn that if you get in our way, we've been given the vice president goes on national television and at a press conference that they organized to say that these agents have ultimate immunity, absolute immunity. People who work for the federal government in immigration enforcement, he seems to put forth, they have absolute immunity. You're taking a workforce in ICE, these ICE agents, who have a job to do. I get it. Nobody wants violent, illegal immigrants in this country. Nobody wants that. We can all agree on that. But when they're told by the vice president they've got absolute immunity and they've got these, when there's the tragic shooting in Minneapolis last week, when the rush to defend this officer at all costs, regardless of what evidence, before evidence was even gathered, before an investigation was even held by the DHS secretary, by the president of the United States, by the vice president, all these elected officials who are granting, we don't care what you do, we got your back. And these are agents who have, there's a massive expansion of this force with lowered requirements and lowered training standards to put these people in the street with highly weaponized, highly, armored in many cases. There's videotapes of these officers, these agents, I should say, breaking down doors, going door to door to check people's papers because of the color of their skin. This gentleman, we played the tape of an American citizen because of his accent, the color of his skin. Supreme Court gave these guys the okay. That's enough. The Supreme Court ruled that was enough. How somebody looked, how somebody spoke was enough to warrant their detention. They're detaining these people. U.S. citizens have been rounded up, detained for days on end with no notification to their families. Again, I'm not trying to argue whether or not we need immigration reform or at the least immigration enforcement.
I think most of us agreed on that.
Immigration enforcement, yes.
Just like the way you say when you go back to family values and what you learned in kindergarten, how you say something matters and how you do something matters. Yes. And I think at the end of the day, we have to go back to our values. What are your personal values as a human being? What are our values as a country? And the reason that we have, people will often say, how can a lawyer defend someone who they know is guilty? because we believe in a process
Yes.
that makes sure that in the end, justice prevails. And so there's a reason that we have processes and investigations, because when you don't have them, evil can take over.
Well, when people are, they're allowed to just, they're emboldened and allowed and defended in these processes where we've seen, we have too many videos to play, too many actualities to play for you of people being dragged from their car and detained and locked up in the snow and sometimes roughed up and injured by these officers, only to realize that there was no cause and they're being released without charges hours later, sometimes days later, sometimes weeks later.
Yeah, no communication.
That's who we are. That's who again, defending that, I don't think is defending, forceful immigration policy. I get it. You want to enforce immigration policy with force if necessary. Okay, there are instances that warrant that merit that. But these guys, these agents seem emboldened and they seem excessive in many, many instances. I just can't believe we're accepting that. We're defending this.
So what if you were all of a sudden made commander-in-chief?
Mm-hmm.
What would be your process to address illegal immigration, getting violent criminals out? Like, what would be your process?
Oh, if I had a magic wand, you've tenfolded the budget of ICE, but you've limited the number of immigration judges. You've limited the number of there was the bill that was put forth, the bipartisan bill put forth before the last election cycle that would have begun to address the immigration issue with more technological surveillance at the border, allowing with under the guise of no criminals coming in, no drugs coming in. I understand that. That's the intent. There was this bipartisan bill that was shot down before the election so that this issue become an election issue. This administration ran on an issue on a policy of they're bad, we're good, they're the enemy. Be afraid. We're gonna muscle up, toughen up. It's just a, you called it. Who are we as a nation? There's a from the top down change of who we are and who we want to be. Where our resources and our efforts are taking us. Who are Americans? Who are the American people? Who is this country? What is important to us? Yeah. It comes out of a sense of, fear that this is this vilification of others, of immigration. We talk about, Minnesota. Why is Minnesota being targeted? Because of this. It's the largest Somali population in America. And this to dump 2,000 more agents after this incident?
And there was a fraud investigation, right, over federal. And it's kind of dumb because this kind of thing happens all over the country, and it was being investigated. It was resolved.
The fraud immigration case, the fraud case in Minneapolis or in Minnesota.
That's what I'm talking
under
about.
Governor Walz. Yes. What people don't realize is that these investigations have been going on for about 3 years. This particular massive fraud case, a ringleader who was a white woman, by the way, and there were bad actors of Somali descent in these cases. These cases have been investigated, prosecuted. People are in jail for this fraud, but now it's a lead story.
So now this American citizen, because of a fraud investigation, some people who were jailed, it's now okay to tackle him, detain him, rough him up, and even though he offered his passport. And I just want to say this. Because 360 texted in and said, don't follow ICE around and no problem. All right, 360, there is a reason that we have laws. It is not illegal to drive your car, and unless you are stalking someone, and there is a process, someone have to get a warrant, you'd have to go through a process. Would you like me, 360, to make up, if I were in charge, and make up some rule about you not being able to do this or do that?
That was against your civil rights, by the way, 360. We talk about these ICE agents. You see people on the streets filming these agents all the time because these are communities that are being targeted, that have reasons to be afraid, to feel harassed because they are being harassed. You've got civil rights in this country that don't just apply to the things you like, but the things you don't like. Why does a defendant in court get a lawyer? Because that's the laws we have. When someone is filming an ICE operation, following or filming, the woman in the street in Minnesota was obstructing, and I'm not going to argue with it. When you block the street with your car, you're obstructing. When you're filming a procedure, an ICE agent's then aggressively come over to tell you to stop filming. You don't have a right to film.
That's illegal.
That's
right. Illegal. That was number one rule. Is it okay if I interject?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I've been a journalist for more than 25 years, and the number one thing we're taught, if I am in a public space, I am allowed to film, period. Like, period.
Yeah.
And if the person I'm filming is in a public space, it's one thing if you're in your house, right? That's if you have an expectation of privacy.
Right, and public streets do not for that.
you're in your house, no, I cannot film. But if you are in a place where you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy, a city street would be one thing. I have a right to film you. So telling me that I can't is at best uninformed.
And a violation of every American's civil rights. I mean, ask 360. You know, if an agent comes over and tells you can't do something that is your right, who's at fault here? The person trying to film? You know, if you're worried about being filmed, stop doing stuff that doesn't look good on film.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Spike. If we allow this under this administration, that, when I say the other things can be allowed under a different one. We have to draw the line no matter who is at the top and in charge. Stick to our values no matter who is in office. Hold people accountable no matter who is in office. I can like you a lot, Spike, and hate something that you did. Two things can be true.
Absolutely. And I can have the right to do something that's abhorrent. I don't like that. Not me, but free speech isn't just the stuff you want to hear. And the stuff that's popular in the public square. That's what these rights are. And these rights are being infringed on Americans. And 360 says, don't exercise your rights. You won't have a problem. I'm sorry, I don't mean to pick on you particularly, but we love people's input to the show. Tell us what you think of these issues. These are contentious, serious issues that are important to how we live our lives here in America.
Civil discourse is important because it's how we grow, develop, all the good stuff. This is a great conversation. Thank you for letting me be here.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. When we come back, we'll talk about, speaking of rights, if you're a season ticket over the Seahawks and you don't want to go to a playoff game where you can make some money selling your tickets, maybe you can't afford the cost of playoff tickets, shouldn't you have the right to sell them? Not according to the NFL. We'll have that when we come back.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
The G and Ursula Show.
There's a brand new Gallup poll out that shows independents are actually now the biggest group in the country.
Weekdays 9 to noon.
Does this surprise you?
No, it's like a card trick. People in card tricks, the reason why you get fooled is because you pay attention to what they say and you don't pay attention to what they do. Most people only start paying attention when elections, policies, and things start affecting you.
Subscribe to the KIRO Newsradio YouTube channel and watch live.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Washington, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation, so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan Wealth, 206-656-3300, 206-656-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
John Curley here. You know that moment when your house feels colder than it should? You turn up the thermostat and nothing? For over a decade, I've trusted the team at Home Comfort Alliance. They show up when they say they will, and they get straight to work, and they do it right. They've been keeping homes comfortable for over 40 winters. Remember, for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, including standby generators, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance, or visit homecomfortalliance.com.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
Hey, it's John Curley with Dr. Kopstein from K2 Vision RLE. Doc, I heard that 50% of Americans have their lenses replaced by the time they're 75.
That's exactly right, John. As we near 50, our eye's natural lens starts to become dysfunctional. If you've now added readers to your need for glasses and contacts, it's a sign the quality and function of your natural lens is fading, and it's a steady decline towards cataracts.
Don't go another 20 plus years with poor vision, hassling with contacts and readers. Do what I did. Choose a quick, painless refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision RLE and start enjoying great vision now.
Our new lens technology is truly amazing. After replacing over 100,000 lenses, we have the experience to guide each patient to their best solution, even if that's recommending you wait a little while before RLE.
K2 Vision RLE can restore distance and near vision permanently, plus never develop a cataract. Read the reviews and schedule a free Zoom consultation now at k2visionrle.com.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it today at carsforkids.org. Your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call 1-877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today. That's Cars with a K.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. Lawmakers in Olympia want to ban federal immigration agents from wearing masks while in public. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey says the bill is moving through the legislature this session.
The bill is designed to prohibit ICE and border agents from wearing masks during immigration raids. Anyone detained by an officer who violates that rule could then file a civil lawsuit. Bill sponsor, Senator Javier Valdez.
We're all aware of incidents that started occurring last year where we started seeing law enforcement officers throughout the country bringing intimidation tactics and causing fear.
The Department of Justice says many agents wear masks to protect their identity after death threats rose 8,000%. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Similar law that passed in California is now being challenged in federal court. Now to the closing bell. Reports inflation is up nationwide, and no surprise, it's even higher here in the greater Seattle area. KIRO News Radio's Heather Bosch explains.
Nationally, the Consumer Price Index rose 2.7% over the past year, but in the Seattle area, it increased 3.1%. Food here went up 4.4% overall. That includes a 1.5% hike in your grocery bill and 7.6% increase eating out. Energy prices, including gas, advanced 7.2%. You're paying over 5% more for medical care and 1.7% extra for shelter. Heather Bosch, KIRO News Radio.
Microsoft says it'll pay its own way as the AI boom drives massive energy demands nationwide. Company announced a 5-point strategy saying it'll absorb higher utility rates so residents do not see their bills rise. Microsoft President Brad Smith telling CNBC.
I think it's really incumbent on us as a company and probably for the entire tech sector to raise the bar, lean in, show people what we're going to do, and ensure that our deeds match our words.
Company's plan also includes cutting water use, creating local jobs, paying full property taxes, and investing in AI education. On Wall Street today, a down day. The Dow lost 398, NASDAQ off 24, S&P 500 down 13 points. Now to the real-time traffic desk. Here's Nate Connors.
Thanks, Aaron. Seattle Sports has our update. The Valley Freeway heading through Kent southbound 167 at South 277th. We've got a collision blocking both general purpose lanes, leaving the toll lane open to all. It is free while those lanes are blocked. Looks like crews are close to clearing this, though. Meanwhile, that backup starts near 84th, close to a 3-mile backup, Renton to Auburn at 15 minutes. Heading through Seattle, South 5, we've cleared out. Just some minor slowing between 520 and the Convention Center. North 5, you're going to jam up just past Mercer across the Ship Canal Bridge, where 2 left lanes are closed for Revive I-5 work. Southbound 405 is crowded between Factoria and the Renton Landing. Nothing heavy, though. Bellevue to Renton, 15 minutes. And all of our passes this afternoon look great, sunny with no restrictions. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial on 97.3 HD2. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Going to be a dry week overall. Looking at overcast skies right now. Could see some sun breaks this afternoon and potentially approaching a record high in Seattle. Right now we're at 55 degrees. The record high for today is 58. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill, with Angela Poe Russell in for Jake Skorheim today. So we found out yesterday at the conclusion of the Pittsburgh-Houston playoff game, the final of Wild Card Weekend, that the Hawks will play the San Francisco 49ers at Lumen Field for a 5 o'clock kickoff Saturday afternoon here in Seattle. We got the late game. It'll be Denver in the early game, and it will be with the Bills. That's maybe the toughest draw in all of football right now, and the Hawks and Niners. And if you're lucky enough to have a ticket to the game, if you are a season ticket holder and you can go in the game, it's wonderful. If you're looking for tickets on the aftermarket, I heard you and Ursula talking yesterday about some of the prices that fans are paying.
The cheapest I found was $600. And that was for a nosebleed.
For a nosebleed section. Here's the issue with the Seahawks season ticket holders. They have been told by the team that if you put your ticket for the game up for sale as a season ticket holder, you could risk having your season tickets renewals rejected by the team. It could cost you your season tickets. I have a dear friend, my producer Joe, Downtown Joe, 30-plus year season ticket holder. And oftentimes he sells his tickets to them. He has 4 seats.
This is producer Joe?
No. Joe Bryant, Downtown Joe.
Oh, dang. I was like, I was going to say, I need to make friends.
That guy's not old enough to be
friends.
That guy's not old enough to be a season ticket holder for 30 some years.
Tell me about Joe, because,
So Joe has 4 season tickets, and he had them at the Kingdome, and he moved them to what was then Quest or CenturyLink or now Lumen Field. He got an email from the team that if he puts his tickets up for sale in the aftermarket, for the resale market, that he could risk his renewal. The team is telling him he doesn't have the right to sell his own tickets. Now, the team is saying that they don't want these tickets sold to out-of-state fans. They don't want Niner fans. We've all been to games where we see a lot of teams travel really well. Every time the Cowboys come to town, there's a horde of Cowboy fans out there. Pittsburgh fans travel well. Niner fans travel very well. Green Bay fans travel well. We've seen these teams take over Lumen Field. And with a home game, you don't want to have the other team. I get it. You want to have a bunch of Niner fans in there. But telling a season ticket holder what they can and can't do with their tickets, that seems like a bridge too far for a seat too far for me.
You know, I felt the same way. Because I was like, I paid for this season. I don't know if you call it a season ticket holder pass or whatever. Yeah. Like, I paid for it. It's my ticket.
There's a seat license. You have to pay for the right to buy those tickets. You're paying a lot.
I should be able to use it the way I want.
You know, these are tough economic times. It's not cheap to go to an NFL football game. The cost of postseason tickets is more than the regular season. If you're a season ticket holder and you honestly can't afford to go to the playoff game, and you've got a chance to sell those tickets, and I'm not saying, bend people over and get $2,000 a seat for it. I could see where we'd have a problem with that. Although I will say, if you can sell your playoff tickets and pay for your entire season.
Hey, that's a tempting offer.
You're the guy that's been there year in, year out. Joe was there when they were 2-14. He's put his time in. Those are his seats. He's bought something. I heard Gene Ursula making the equation today of if I buy something at Costco, I can't go and resell it, can I? Well, you can buy some things at Costco that say, packaged in bulk, not for individual resale.
But people do it.
But they do it. People buy, because you can buy some things that, I'm going off the rails here, but you go to Costco Business, you buy a box of 25 Mars bars, you put them in for sale at your convenience store. That's how business works. But getting back to the Seahawks, I don't know the Hawks have the right to say this to season ticket holders. And how insulting is it to season ticket holders, telling them what you can and can't do? A good season ticket holder, don't sell it to a Niner fan. I'm with you there. I hate seeing Niner fans.
How do you do that, though?
You investigate the buyer.
It's a discrimination.
Well, yeah, it is. You've got the right to refuse sale. The guy he shows up without shoes or shirt.
Prove it. How do you prove it?
I don't know if you
Maybe
can.
it's location. So here's the deal.
There's no easy answer.
I was agreeing with it first. I was with you. I was like, I should have a right to do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. But then when I thought about it, I was thinking about it in the context of it being a club or a business, and almost like you buying into the club. And if the club has rules, you have to abide by the club's rules. And so while I disagree,
they have the right to do it.
They have a right to do it.
Yeah.
And I get the reasoning. If you look at it as a club, for say, like you join the Awana Club or whatever, name it. Boys and Girls Club. There are rules at the club. Yeah. And then they're saying the reason is because we want to support our players. We want to support our members and make sure we don't have fans from the opposite side.
Yeah.
And I was it makes sense. I just wish there were a way to differentiate between other Seahawks and 49ers. And in this case, it's especially tough because they're like neighbors. But a lot of people are weighing in on this.
Oh, yeah, let's hear.
Someone else said the same thing, Galen, and forgive me if I mispronounced your name, but he's like, I believe as a season ticket holder, if I want to sell my ticket, it should be to another Seahawk, so we don't allow the 49ers. It's just, how do you do that? What would be the process to, verify?
To verify? Take a look at who's buying your ticket. You're going to have a lot of offers to buy your tickets. Maybe the high bidder is going to be somebody out of town. Take the second highest bidder.
Yeah.
If you want the right to sell them, okay, I'll give it to you. How about we just guarantee you sell them to somebody who's, wearing the blue? Okay, that's not too much to ask.
Like you just take it out of the football context and it just feels so icky, right?
Yeah. There's also there's a story.
Yeah, there's another story. Go ahead.
There's a story in the Times today about if you're at the game at Lumen Field on Saturday, smile, you could be on camera. The system that the NFL puts in place for playoff games. Okay. By the way, I should mention this. We mentioned earlier when Charlie was on with us, when Sully was on with us, that I had heard a rumor that they were cleaning up Tailgate Alley. They're not. I got misinformation.
No. Are you serious?
Yeah, the city
was really excited.
I know. As was I. I did some investigating. I looked around a little bit. I called a couple people. The city has no plan to go down there and sweep the homeless encampment on Tailgate Alley. They'll still be there. And
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you really surprised?
I'm not surprised. I was more surprised when I saw the news.
Exactly. Same.
Yeah.
I remember asking Katie Wilson, the candidate, during a debate. I said, well, what do you... When it comes to sweeps, I said, what if a person in a tent does not want to leave or does not want to get services? What would you do? Mm-hmm. And she would not answer that question.
Well, that's a
and
tough
so
question.
that told me that there. So I guess for the World Cup, maybe we won't clean up for the guests.
Well, that's a great point. I guarantee you they're cleaning up for the World Cup. They've already said they're cleaning up for the World Cup. They'll clean encampments. When we had the All-Star game here last summer, right? A couple summers ago, maybe I lose track of time. I'm old. They cleaned up encampments. They covered up graffiti. They cleaned up the city. The world was coming to Seattle to watch the All-Star game. The world is coming to Seattle.
That was under a different mayor. Different mayor. Yeah.
But I guarantee you when the World Cup comes here this summer, you're not going to see those RVs parked along Tailgate Alley. Or maybe that's where they'll keep them because they're off the beaten path.
Maybe. Well, we didn't get to the camera story. Will we have time later?
Sure. No, let's do it after the break.
I really want to get you guys' opinion on this camera situation. Because I was like, wait, what?
Wait, what? Okay. How about your right to privacy? How about your right to privacy? Now, when you paid for a ticket, there's not. We'll talk about it next. It's Jake and Spike Show with Angela Port Russell. We'll be right back.
The Closing Bell is brought to you by Trajan Wealth Management.
Hi, I'm Charlie Harger.
And I'm Amanda Factor.
Investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell, what it means for the Fed's independence and the nation's economy.
Former State Attorney General Rob McKenna weighs in.
Love that touchscreen in your car? According to new research from UW, you might be part of the problem on the roads.
Speaking of the roads, Revive I-5. Sully has his eyes on the roads and traffic every 10 minutes.
Hope you can join us tomorrow, 5 to 9 on Seattle's Morning News.
Subscribe to the KIRO Newsradio YouTube channel and watch live.
At Skyline, senior living never sounded so good. The world feels bigger when you stay connected to ideas, to culture, to the things you love. We designed Skyline for today's older adults who celebrate life rooted in the city, not apart from it. At Seattle's only true life care community, premier music venues, museums, and culinary gems are just steps away. Urban senior living has an address. Discover it all at SkylineSeattle.org.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through January 25th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
I love the fact that Mike Novak sells more homes than anybody else. This guy works so hard. You know what's happening? People are selling their homes again. And if you don't have Mike Novak's name on that sign, well, you're wasting your time and your house is just going to be sitting on the market. Mike is so confident that he can sell your house quickly. And for more, you'll pay no commission if Mike Novak doesn't sell that home in 21 days. So go to meetthenovaks.com. I'll spell Novaks for you. Novaks. MeetTheNovaks.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com. Or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
I had pain. I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
When you walked through your kitchen this morning, what'd you see? Did it make you happy? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Well, I want to make you happy. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves, whatever you like. We'll help you to create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, time, and expense than to tear out. Stop waiting. For 18 years, we've been honored to serve thousands of happy customers, and we'd love to serve you. Call today and I'll get one of our pros to come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
Tune in to The Money Professor with Chris Longworth.
Having some certainty about your plan is definitely going to give you all the advantages.
Chris has the heart of an educator.
If you really want to do this correctly, then you get to enjoy every day of retirement like it's a Saturday. And if you don't, it's a Monday for the rest of your life.
Tune in to The Money Professor with Chris Longworth, Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
No heat, electrical issues, frozen pipes, no power? John Curley here, recommending you call Home Comfort Alliance. For over 40 years doing heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical right, including standby generators. Call the comfort people at homecomfortalliance.com. An organized home is a happy home and a happy homeowner. John Curley here. Closets by Design made me and my home happy. Experience the quality and backing of a national brand with friendly local Seattle service. From booking the appointment to a free in-home consult to installation day, Closets by Design will leave you wowed and clutter-free. Right now, get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off and 18 months financing and free installation. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to schedule today.
Welcome back, everybody. So we had a story, it was in the Times this morning, about how if you're attending a Seahawk game this Saturday, or any Seahawk game, be aware that there's a 16-camera system that Memento, is a company called Memento. They use these cameras to a multi-camera system that photographs every person sitting in Lumen Field, the 68,000 plus fans. That can be photographed at any time. Now, I'd mentioned to Laura that I've been on TV numerous times at Seahawk games because I stopped going to the games 4 years ago for financial reasons. It got to be just too expensive to go to Seahawk games. So I can relate to folks who are trying to sell their season tickets. We sat right in the end zone, under the goalposts, some of the biggest moments in Seahawk history. I was literally living. There's me on the field, right? Laura's got a pose. If you're watching the YouTube channel, you can see what I'm talking about. If you're not watching, first off, you're missing half the show.
You're in the black hat.
I'm in a black hat. Right there is, you see a guy holding the fence. That's the infamous Big Low, Seahawks super fan, Big Low. Next to him is Shannon Love, the Sea Pimp. I didn't name it, he did. You can see a guy with a white cap. And the guy next to him, a little black cap, little army kind of cap looking. That's me in the second row of the end zone at Lumen Field. Laura, zoom out of that picture. We can see where I was. That's the tip. That is Richard Sherman tipping the ball away from Crabtree, a sorry receiver like Crabtree, to quote Richard Sherman. That was the tip, one of the most infamous plays in Seahawks history.
I remember that.
Sent this team to the Super Bowl. That's me in the back of that picture. But, Laura, go to the next one I sent you. It's the pirate outfit. These guys, you all know Mr. and Mrs. Seahawk. You know who Mr. and Mrs. Seahawk, and right there they're in the Football Hall of Fame as super fans. Mr. and Mrs. Seahawk dress up every game. They're fixtures. Mama Blue, we lost Mama Blue a year and a half ago, I think it was, to cancer. These fixtures in the end zone, like Big Low. So there was a point that I was in the end zone every week with this lunatic bin down in the end zone, in the end zone. There's me as my Captain Hawk. I actually had a pirate costume made.
Wow.
That's me.
Okay.
That's how close I was watching the game. There's the guy in the white again. I'm not going to Shannon Love. I'm not going to name his Seahawk name again. But that's me. But show the other one. They weren't all just. That's me at a Seahawks Jets game in the rain when we were playing like crap and we were losing to a horrible Jets team. A friend of mine, that was me, caught on national TV, decided to feature me at the game. in a very unhappy moment with the team. So they come back from commercial, and that's the face America sees for the Seahawk fan base.
You just happen to get all these photos.
Some people send them to me. People see me on TV. Hey, man, spotted you on TV.
Okay.
In the end zone.
But now with this new system, everybody can get their photo of themselves in the stadium.
In the stands, it's a service.
Which honestly, when I read it, it freaked me out. Here's the part that freaks me out. So just to set the stage, set the stage.
Yeah.
16 cameras, and they can capture every single person in a seat.
High def.
And they're saying that after the game, you can go into this place, put your seat number in, and they're going to have a photo of you.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about is it can't be a close-up. So let's say if you're sitting 2 seats from me, if you go download your photo and I just happen to be in it picking my nose, am I all of a sudden part of... That's the part I work.
Next thing you know, you're at a Coldplay concert with your boss.
Yes.
And your life is over.
Right?
Well,
so you see my reticence in this.
I do.
See... Now, there is there's a glimmer of hope in this.
Okay.
It sounds like you can try to opt out of being, you have to, like everything, you have to go on the website. Like it's a process. Let me see what the process.
Okay, let me hear. Tell me more.
Let's see. Okay. I think you have to go to Momentum's website.
Oh, you have to. Is it Momentum or Memento?
It is Memento.
Memento.
Memento has a website.
Yeah, but
so probably you look up Memento.
It's like being on Splash Mountain, right? You go to Disney and you go to Splash Mountain.
Exactly.
You can buy a commemorative photo at the end, right? And the guy, are you worried about being in somebody else's photo at Splash Mountain? If you go down, they're buying their picture.
But in those photos,
you're in the back.
I've just got my hands up.
That's what you do at a Seahawks game. I've seen you at a Seahawks game.
For 4 hours. A lot could go down. 3. A lot could go down in 3 hours that I don't want someone to see.
Unflattering shots.
There's just stuff. You know what I mean? There's just stuff. Or who you're with, to your point.
There you go.
So mind your P's and Q's. Jesus was saying that I think the concern feels like for facial recognition, it's like a Big Brother kind of thing.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, that's true.
Can ICE or someone else tap into it? And I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, if trouble breaks out at the stadium, they can use these cameras to figure out who was where and doing what. The guy next to me threw a punch, and then he disappeared into the crowd. They can go back and find.
And that's a good thing.
Did you know that the Seahawks, the security at the Seahawks, actually Seattle Police Department, if I'm not mistaken, and I was, by the way, I was wrong about Tailgate Alley. I had mentioned that they were going to they were going to clean up the RVs, and I said I did some research,
right,
and that they weren't. The city says there's no official plan to do that, but a texter said that those RVs were cleared away this morning.
Yes,
is that what? Right? You had a text that said, "Wait a minute, Spike, you're giving misinformation."
Yes.
The Utah Alley there, and somebody said, "Where is Tailgate Alley?" If you know the old Sears Capitol, which is now Starbucks. Okay, so this is a current shot that a listener sent us on the text line.
Yes, anonymously.
So the RVs have been removed. Tailgate Alley is the alley that runs along the train tracks north of the old Sears building, which is now the Starbucks headquarters, between that and Lumen Field. And that is when I was a season ticket holder, I mean, thousands of people would gather there on that alley. They would go early and park RVs, or they would go early and set up tents.
So it's clear now.
It's clear now of the homeless encampment that have been living there because the NFL is coming to town this weekend. The nation will turn its football eyes to Seattle Saturday at 5 o'clock.
I love that our listener community was able to fill us in. I love that.
I call them the vast unpaid research staff that are the field producers of this radio program. Thank you, folks. We appreciate you doing the research. When we come back, speaking of doing your own research, the Washington State ferry system has a big announcement regarding your ability to live your life while you're on a ferry boat. We'll tell you more about it right after these. It's the Jake and Spike Show with Angela Poe Russell Flynn and Jake Skorheim. See you in a minute.
Seattle's Morning News, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Congressman Adam Smith, the ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee, situation in Minneapolis.
I think this is just the obvious and terrible outcome of the way Trump has approached law enforcement. There seems to be no accountability, and the message going out is do what you got to do. There are no rules. There will be no accountability.
Watch the full interview and subscribe to KIRO Newsradio on YouTube.
This is Lynn. She's always been active, maybe a little too active back in the day.
When I was 19 years old and immortal, I stripped out all my ligament and I had to have 6 knee surgeries, and that's on my right knee. And then my left knee finally gave out and had a torn meniscus.
Years of pain followed until she saw Dr. Mark Wagner at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I'm 4 months out and I have no pain in my knees, and I have had knee pain my whole life. I have no concept of what it was like without pain. It's a miracle. I'm totally thrilled.
No pain, no limits.
Dr. Wagner gave me the green light to ski again this year. I'm like, that's incredible. So I'm just so excited.
After years of surgeries and setbacks, Lynn finally got her freedom back.
I think he saved my legs, so saved my knees, and gave me at least another 10, 15 years to do what I want to do.
If joint pain is holding you back, find out what stem cell therapy could do for you with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Tune in to elevate your wealth.
If you're 5 to 10 years from retirement, you do not have the time to deal with a market downturn.
With Mark Stimson and Casey Elkins.
It's important that you know what the rules are, because if you don't, you can make some tremendous decisions that could adversely affect you, and you may not be able to go back and fix them.
Tune in to Elevate Your Wealth, Saturdays at 11 a.m., right here on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Washington, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation, so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
Doctors King and Kopstein from K2 Vision.
If you're over 50 and you've been diagnosed with a cataract, or your vision is changing as you're developing an early cataract, you could be a perfect candidate for K2 Vision RLE.
It's inevitable. At some point, typically in your 60s or 70s, you'll have a dysfunctional lens that eventually becomes a cataract. To restore your vision, you will someday need a procedure such as refractive lens exchange.
The question is, are you done with glasses? Do you want to spend your good, active years hassling with changing prescriptions and needing readers?
K2 Vision RLE can give you great vision now, permanently, and you'll never develop that cataract. The procedure is quick and painless, and our state-of-the-art custom lens technologies give highly predictable outcomes.
K2 Vision surgeons have performed nearly 100,000 procedures. We know when RLE is right for you.
Find out. Schedule a free Zoom consultation at k2visionrle.com.
K2 Vision RLE. No glasses, no contacts, no readers.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In Iran, more anti-government protests and gunfire. President Trump says he is aware of a pretty substantial number of people have been killed over more than 2 weeks in Iran, and has said on social media that help is on the way. In an exclusive interview at the Dearborn, Michigan Ford plant, Trump is asked by CBS Evening News' host Tony DeCopel.
Now we're hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line, or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
You can see the full interview on the CBS Evening News tonight. President Trump is praising the economy. CBS's Linda Kenyon.
In a speech before the Detroit Economic Club, the president essentially said, business is good.
I'm back in Michigan to report to you on the strongest and fastest economic turnaround.
But he also repeated his complaints against Fed Chairman Jerome Powell and interest rate policy.
I want somebody that when the market is doing great, interest rates can go down because our country becomes stronger.
The president has dramatically escalated his confrontations with the Fed chairman in recent weeks.
Director and actor Timothy Busfield has turned himself in to New Mexico authorities after being sought on child sex abuse charges. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
Albuquerque police issued an arrest warrant on counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor and child abuse. The acts allegedly occurred on the set of the TV series The Cleaning Lady. Busfield directed and acted in the series. A criminal complaint accuses him of touching a young boy, allegations he's denied here on TMZ.
And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong and all lies.
He suggested the boy's mother was seeking revenge for her children being replaced on the series.
After hearing arguments, the U.S. Supreme Court seems likely to uphold state transgender athlete bans. Meantime, at an LGBTQ+ center in Los Angeles, legal representatives and others spoke in support of the community. Connie Jeanette Madden called on people to take action.
We're not tired because we are resilient people. We have been resilient throughout history.
But we're wondering, when are you going to step up?
Scott Adams created the comic strip Dilbert, which ridiculed white-collar office life. His ex-wife, Shelley Miles, says he has died at age 68. Adams had prostate cancer that spread to his bones. Stocks fell on Wall Street today. This is CBS News.
I'm Major Garrett. Follow and listen to The Takeout on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, the governor delivers his State of the State address. That's after Nate Connors at the Real-Time Traffic Desk.
Thank you, Aaron. Northwest Hope and Healing's got the update. In the Valley Freeway through Kent, southbound 167 at South 277th. We're still dealing with this collision. And now just blocking the right lane. It was blocking both general purpose lanes for a while. This is just past the exit ramp, so drivers can still exit to 277th. We've got a hefty 3-mile backup starting near 84th Avenue. Renton to Auburn has a 10-minute delay, taking you about 25 minutes. Here in Seattle, South 5 looks great. North 5, scattered backup starting at I-90 across the Ship Canal Bridge. And now westbound 520 is getting packed from Montlake Boulevard over to I-5 as our mid-afternoon backups begin to form as we head into the evening commute. South 405 is crowded through Factoria into Newcastle. Bellevue to Renton closing in on 20 minutes. And really, the rest of our commute looks great. Of course, we've got that backup starting eastbound 526 from the Boeing plant over to I-5 with the Boeing shift change underway. Join Northwest Hope and Healing for Cork, Fork, and Support, an afternoon of wine tasting and inspiration. Get your tickets now for January 31st at nwhopeandhealing.org. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Governor Bob Ferguson addresses lawmakers in Olympia today as they begin work this new legislative session. In his State of the State address, Governor acknowledging tough choices ahead, saying he has 3 priorities.
Invest in our infrastructure, make our tax system more fair, and continue our progress on addressing the housing crisis.
Republican State Senator John Braun offering his response, saying the governor and Democrats fail to understand a fundamental problem.
This isn't something we're going to fix with more government involvement, more taxes, and more regulation. We need less taxes, less regulation, and less government involvement.
Among the legislature's top priority is closing a $2.3 billion budget gap. Storm damage from last month's floods could hit $50 million. That is just to repair the roads. That's the word from state transportation officials. WSDOT Steve Rourke telling the House Transportation Committee it's just an estimate for now.
And I would say that it's too soon to know what the federal funding is going to look like, how much of our federal appropriation will be eligible to be spent.
He says in previous disasters, the feds covered up to 90% of the costs. The state is still preparing to ask FEMA for a disaster declaration. Authorities say Tacoma City Hall was forced into a lockdown when a former Human Services Commissioner made violent threats. KIRO News Radio's Frank Lenzi with that story.
Tacoma City Hall went into lockdown on January 6th after police say a woman sent dozens of violent threats to city employees and healthcare workers, many of them mentioning an AK-47. Prosecutors have charged 63-year-old Kimberly Ann Ellison with felony harassment and obstruction. KIRO 7 TV reports that according to a city employee, Ellison had openly discussed past struggles with addiction and mental illness. In Tacoma, Frank Lenzi, KIRO News Radio.
CEO of Seattle-based Redfin is stepping down after 20 years at the helm. Glenn Kelman says leaving the real estate firm was his call. His announcement today coming nearly 7 months after Rocket Companies bought Redfin. Seattle Times reports the head of Rocket will serve as interim CEO. Now to your weather updates. We are drying out and going to see a dry week overall. Highs today in the upper 50s, could be nearing a record high in Seattle. Right now, 55 in downtown. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Spike O'Neill, Angela Pro Wrestling for Jake Skorheim today. You know, we mentioned the Seahawks in the last break. We talked about ticket prices and getting to the game. If you're going to the game this weekend to see the Hawks and Niners for a 5 o'clock Saturday kickoff, That's been determined now. It'll be on Fox Television. We'll have to find some weird service.
Oh, I know. Go to this app and you can't record. And
luckily, I have Amazon Prime, so I was able to watch the Packers-Bears game, but I couldn't record it. I couldn't pause it.
Which is so frustrating.
I know, right? Joni Allen, Paul Allen's sister, who is now the president and CEO of the Seahawks, owner of the Seahawks, made a public statement about the NFL's new direction of moving their product to various partnerships and various streaming services. And Joni Allen was very, she questioned the NFL's commitment to its fans and say, look, these are the people who built this league. The fans of this league are why we have this business, this product, this empire of football. Let's make sure we're doing this for the people who got us here, which I thought was a really nice thing to say.
I didn't realize Jody did that. That is cool.
Yeah.
Go Jody.
Yeah, it's Jody. Thank you, not Joni. Jody. What I wanted to say was that if you're taking a ferry to the game, there will be 2 boats on the Bremerton-Seattle run, which we're down to 1 boat. We've had a lot of stories lately about ferry boats being in service, having adequate staffing. They announced that the Triangle run between Vashon and Fauntleroy and Southworth, that's up to full speed again, with a contingency of boats. While the Seattle-Bremerton run is down to 1 boat, there will be 2 boats starting Saturday morning to accommodate fans of the Seahawks going to the game on Saturday afternoon. Yeah. Another thing that the ferries announced, and I showed this, Angela, to you early before the show, and you were kind of amazed that it was even a story, that it wasn't always the case. The Seattle is announcing that the Seattle Ferry Service, I should say, is announcing that, and I've closed this. I'm trying to find it now. I apologize. They are bringing back Wi-Fi to the terminal and to the boat itself in a trial basis, because that had not been the case. I mean, I apologize. I'm trying to dig up the story here.
Yeah, it sounds like, I'm finding it, but
is.
I'm just, okay, there you go.
I got it. So it says that, and I apologize, folks. I should have been better prepared for this, but I got caught up in the moment. The commute for ferry passengers on the Chimacum and at the Bremerton terminal will become a more entertaining, productive, and simply distracting opportunity later this year, depending on how you use the internet. Washington Ferries is taking a first step toward offering Wi-Fi at its terminals and aboard its vessels for this limited 1 vessel, 1 terminal pilot project for the Seattle to Bremerton route, according to the report from the state agency. And I was amazed that Wi-Fi isn't available on the boats in general.
That blew my mind, because I just think about the ferry rides. If you're going to Bainbridge from Seattle, it's 45 minutes. But if you're doing a longer one, you want to be able to, especially if you're a person who works in a certain city and it's a commuter kind of thing.
We have the largest
ferry. You want to be able to log on just like you would if you're taking a train somewhere.
Well, it's impossible not to commute if you can't. For a lot of folks who train or sit you talk about a boat crossing being an hour or 45 minutes or 30 minutes. In the summertime, the lines for these boats can be a couple-hour endeavor waiting for your commute. And to not be productive, it's not even be a human in the 21st century. How do you go offline for hours and hours on end? Does anybody even do that anymore?
I know. Listen, I'm the person that they would have to raise the price really high for me not to buy Wi-Fi on a flight.
You're not alone.
I mean, I remember getting on a flight once, and I had serious anxiety and asked the flight attendant, is there Wi-Fi on this plane? Because the last one I took, I had to take a flight all the way to Africa. Okay? If you don't know how long of a flight that is. It was almost 23 hours, right?
I've been on a couple of them,
okay? No Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was down, and I did not know what to do with myself. Now, I want to acknowledge that this sounds really bad. Because it sounds really bad.
Got some first world problems there, Angela.
I love books.
Yeah.
I love just being, and I love Wi-Fi. So I know it's, in other words, I just want you all to know I am aware that this is concerning.
It sounds a little privileged.
It does. I want to acknowledge it. Yep.
But don't feel bad, because I think we're all here. We've become so accustomed to having everything at our fingertips, instantaneous gratification, access to information. I have said many, many times that the internet is eliminating the sense of wonder. I wonder what this. We don't wonder anything anymore.
Boredom.
We look it up. Yeah. Yes.
Like, do we ever even going to the toilet? People do.
No, you're not. I laugh, but you're not wrong, bud.
Right?
It's the knowing, covering laugh of acknowledgement that we're all there with you. We can't be disconnected at all. I was amazed to find out that the Wi-Fi wasn't available at the terminals and at the boats. This is a pilot program that's going to run from May through August. And they will collect data on how many people use the Wi-Fi, how much bandwidth is being used, and then decide if Wi-Fi is a realistic goal for the ferry service, for if they can, if it's practical and affordable and economically feasible to provide Wi-Fi to not just the Seattle-Bremerton run, to the terminal up in Edmonds or Mukilteo or wherever else you happen to catch the boat on the islands themselves. How hard would it be to put a Wi-Fi network available for Washington State Ferry customers? I'm sure it would be a charged fee to access the Wi-Fi on these boats or at these terminals. You mentioned having to buy Wi-Fi on the plane. You know, my particular carrier for our cell phone coverage gives me, I think it's $5 a year. We have the ability to use my carrier has. We're with T-Mobile, and we've got like
local company.
Local company, yeah, nice people. They do good work. But there's not much difference between all the companies. But that being said, T-Mobile offered me up to 5 opportunities in a 12-month calendar year to use my membership or my contract with T-Mobile to get unlimited Wi-Fi on a flight. And I've done 3 flights in the last year, and all 3 of them I used the Wi-Fi connection, and I couldn't have been without it. I would. You talk about it. How do you be disconnected? How do you not text people? How do you not watch shows? How do you not surf the news of the day?
Yeah, 425 had a different perspective. Most have cell phones with data. No need for Washington to waste the money. I mean, I guess you could, if you needed to use your computer, you could hotspot your phone, right? You could use your phone as a hotspot.
Yeah, that's true.
You could do that. I don't know. It just seems like having a fixed place like a terminal with no Wi-Fi. It just seems like a no-brainer to have access to it in the event for many reasons.
If you're going to use cell coverage, you make sure you have a program that gives you unlimited cell coverage because you have if you have limited access and a plan that gives you limited access and you're burning up your cell data, you know, to burn the Wi-Fi or burn the internet into your phone while you're at these terminals on these boats.
Fernando made a good point. Can we please fix all the boats first? Now that's a point.
That's yes, Fernando. Way to see the tree and not the forest as we ride into it.
But if you're waiting for a boat because service is slow, wouldn't you want Wi-Fi?
The
in the
least
terminal?
they can do is give you a TV show or a movie to watch. Plus, if I can't imagine they would do this without being a revenue generator. That's why they're going to do this on a pilot basis and gather information, see if enough people would use it, if they would pay to use it. Can we put up some towers, start charging people $2.99 a day or whatever it is to have access to buy a temporary or a month-long access pass? Maybe it's a revenue generator. Maybe the Wi-Fi was going to help us fix these boats, hire these deckhands, keep these boats up in service so we have coverage on our services. Speaking of coverage on our services, boy, it doesn't happen often.
That's a smooth Spike, I have to tell you.
I don't know if you are a participant in the Obamacare Affordable
I used
Care
to be for many years.
membership.
Yep.
If you buy your insurance not through your employer but through the federal exchange, the healthcare exchange in Washington, it's AppleCare, I think, in Washington.
Yes.
And we've all seen the political wrestling going on in the last 6 months about whether or not these ACA subsidies that were part of the pandemic recovery plan would be extended. The government shutdown was based on that. Democrats wanted to extend these coverages, these subsidies, to help keep these premiums lower for Americans. Republicans saw it differently. Your premiums are going up. You got your notices first of the years when the subsidies stopped happening, and now people are seeing this impact on their bills.
The consequences, yeah. And what we're seeing so far, first of all, there are just 2 more days left to sign up. And when people sign up, they don't pay just yet. So nothing of it's official till they actually pay. So this number
it's the last
could fall.
chance to pick your programs.
Yeah, right now, nationally, signups are down more than 800,000 people from last year. So nearly 1 million people have not signed up compared to last year, many of them citing affordability as an issue. And to put that in context, it's about 5% of users. But what we're also seeing is that whenever you sign up for healthcare through the state, you can pick different tiers. You could pick gold, silver, bronze, and one of them has a higher deductible, lower, that kind of thing.
Yeah, how much coverage you get, what your out-of-pocket's going to be, what your premiums are going to be.
Yeah, so now more people are signing up for the bronze plan, the cheaper one that has a higher deductible because they just can't afford the monthly premiums.
Sure, because sometimes they're doubling, if not tripling.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're experiencing. And what's interesting is some states, because I just gave you 5% down nationally, but some states are really being hit hard. Idaho, Virginia, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania, terminations of healthcare coverage have tripled. like people actually canceling.
They're going to just take their chances.
Because they can't afford it. And I just wanted to tell you a story because I do have personal experience with ACA. And I have a relative who spent time in jail because of a DUI-related crash.
Okay.
So didn't, rape anyone. It was a DUI-related crash.
Sure.
Awful decision to drink and drive. But when he got out of prison, it was still rough to find a job.
Sure.
At a time when you most need medical care. And so he was able to use the subsidies to start out getting low cost health care coverage. And then once he found a full-time job and was able to move into, actually, some of the employers don't offer health insurance. So the first job that came along, no health insurance offered.
People
so
have
had
it through their employer. Pretty lucky to do so.
Yeah, exactly. So he had to still stay on the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But now he has a full-time job and able to get health care coverage through the employer. So my question is, where do people go if they don't have health coverage? And I'll tell you, it's a rhetorical question because it's going to go there. Hospitals can't turn people away, so it's going to stress the system because they can't turn them away.
Well, that was the onus of the Affordable Care Act, was that people who don't have insurance, the Hippocratic Oath, is that what the do no harm, right? Emergency rooms are required to treat people who come in, save a life first, stop the bleeding, whatever it may be, before you find out if they're citizens of the United States, if they've gotten health insurance. And when the uninsured come into hospitals, it raises the costs of hospitals doing business, which raises the cost for all insured. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be on the ACA. So when ACA premiums go up and people go uninsured, the cost of providing health care is going to naturally go up for these hospitals, which means that people who have insurance, even through their employer, we're going to see our premiums raise too. It's inevitable. When the cost of providing people health care goes up because more and more of them are uninsured, as you mentioned, people who are dropping insurance in these other states you mentioned, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Idaho, uninsured people raise the cost of providing health care, which means those of us who have insurance, our employer is going to have to pay more.
Yeah.
And thus, we're going to have to pay a larger percentage of our income to stay insured.
Yeah. What should the federal government's responsibility be when it comes to?
You keep doing this, asking me to solve the world's problems. I appreciate it. I know you're speaking rhetorically. I wish I knew the answer.
No, I'm really wondering. I mean, because if you think about someone who finds themselves sick, or let's say a relative's really sick and they have to take care of an aging relative and they leave their full-time job and they need to still have health care coverage, but the premiums are so expensive.
Right.
This subsidies were like the stopgap. It was kind of like the bridge.
Yes.
You're able to pay $20 a month instead of $100 a month.
Right. Or $600 a month as opposed to $1,800 a month, which people are seeing. Wow. People seeing their insurance premiums go up to $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, $1,800 a month, doubling and tripling what they were previous. Because if you don't have employees helping you subsidize the cost of your insurance, employers pay a massive percentage of healthcare when you buy it through your employer. The large percentage of that is on the employer itself. Yeah. It's the cost of their labor costs, so that's factored in. It's the health insurance for their employees.
Real talk to both of you, or all of you listening. Have you ever not gone to the doctor because you were worried about the copay or the bill? Like, have you ever not gone?
Yes.
I've done that too.
Sure.
I've done that too. And that's not good.
No.
Like, that's not good. You should,
when
there's a problem.
Yeah, you haven't met your deductible. Even your out of pocket going for an emergency room visit is going to be a couple $100 out of your pocket right then and there. And things are tight for everybody these days. I'd get the crazy glue out. Let's just close this at home. I'm not kidding. This is a cut. It probably could benefit from stitches, but I'll hold it together with a butterfly, and we'll throw some crazy glue. I mean, crazy glue was designed to close wounds. That was why it was invented.
Man,
I'm not above that.
At the end of the year, I was rushing to the doctor to try to solve all the issues before the new deductible kicks in for the new year.
I'm the same. You've met your deductible. It's time to get everything done. I'm with you.
Yeah.
So what needs to happen? I mean, I understand the argument that these temporary subsidies through the pandemic relief bill, which is what it was. That's why there were the pandemic relief subsidies in place.
Should we force companies, if you have someone who works at your company more than 30 hours, you have to provide it? But see, then I could see some of them playing the game and saying, okay, you get 29 hours.
Well, you see it every day. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
The largest employer in America is Walmart, and I've beat this drum so many times.
Oh,
People are tired.
beat it, Spike.
They have the largest workforce in America, and the largest percentage of workforce receiving federal assistance.
Okay, wait a minute. Repeat that.
Walmart has the largest workforce. They're the largest employer in America. Walmart is the Walton family, right? They are the largest employer in America.
Okay.
They also have the largest percentage of their workforce that qualify for either food stamps or Medicare. Or Medicare, Medicaid. I'm not sure which is the elder, which is the just low income.
And is Walmart turning a profit?
They're one of the most profitable families funny you ask. One of the most profitable families, privately owned company, the Walton family, on the face of the earth.
Wait a minute. Okay. I'm seeing this article that says their profits, hold on, just stand by. Okay. Third quarter profits, this was in November, rose to $6 billion.
Yeah. Quarter.
$6 billion in a
profit.
quarter.
The quarter in the
That's
quarter.
greater.
Yes.
Hold on, let me just finish this.
Please.
That's greater than the $4 billion the company earned in the same period last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then here's my question. If a company has a profit of $6 billion and yet their employees are working a ton of hours and not able to make a living wage, should that company, that's my hot take. If a company is turning those kind of profits and we're as the federal government, we are having to subsidize your workers.
That's right.
Then you get a penalty.
I would agree with you.
You get a penalty.
So,
I'm sorry.
And they cap their workers because you mentioned.
So then the federal government is subsidizing Walmart.
Walmart's workforce, yeah.
We're subsidizing Walmart.
Absolutely.
Our taxpayer dollars is subsidizing Walmart.
People talk about welfare cheats and welfare fraud and all the people that are living off the system.
You're welcome, Walmart. You are welcome for us helping you.
Exactly. You want to talk about who's getting welfare? Corporate welfare is a much bigger problem in this country than people who are cheating the system. And don't get me wrong, I'm not for fraud. I'm not for people cheating the system. But if we really want to start saving us taxpayer money, stop subsidizing the largest workforce in America for a company that made $6 billion in profit in the last quarter alone. And they cap people at 29 hours a week so they don't have to give them insurance. They do it constantly. They pay a non-living wage. They don't provide insurance coverage, health care coverage for their employees, and they're one of the most profitable privately owned company in America.
But they're getting federal assistance,
absolutely,
paid
tax
for
breaks
by tax dollars.
Their workforce is subsidized by you and me.
From a company making $6 billion in a quarter in profit.
Yeah,
not gross.
No, that's profit. I get you.
My mind is blown.
I'm sorry to be the one that blow your mind, but I'm happy to help. And I get it, man. What is? You asked what's the solution here, right? The solution here, if you want to stop the broken system of healthcare, it's not stop providing the subsidies, because insurance companies are going to get the same amount of money. They're just going to get it from taxpayers' pockets. We've already paid the taxes. They were getting it from the taxes they've already paid. Insurance companies, you want to lower healthcare costs, stop the insurance companies' ability to make this much profit. You think Walmart's making money? Look how much money insurance companies are making. You can't just solve the problem by making taxpayers pay more money. That's not solving the problem. The problem is the cost of healthcare, not who's paying the bill.
Spike unleashed, ladies and gentlemen.
Angela, you're wondering. Angela put Russell in for Jake Skorheim today. When we come back at 2:30, we are going to talk about the amount of stuff I'm trying to get rid of in my life. And I'm not alone. There are 250,000 storage units in Seattle. So 250,000 storage units in the greater Seattle area, and it's not enough.
In the city.
Well, I think it's in the city, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Seattle has 240,000 apartments worth of self-storage, and it's not enough.
I'm in the wrong business, clearly.
You should open a Walmart and an insurance company and build a self-storage. We'll be right back after these.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group.
If you've saved more than $300,000, you may have a big problem in retirement, and it's taxes. Taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, taxes on your Social Security benefits, taxes on your investment income, and more. And when you add it all up, this could be your largest expense in retirement. That's why it's critical you get in front of this now. Hi, it's Charlie Harger. Discover the strategies that could significantly reduce your taxes in retirement with a free, customized retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, who has 2 locations in Seattle. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 206 206-210-1350. That's 206-210-1350. Don't overpay your taxes to the government. Call 206-210-1350.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. No statement contained herein should constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Adrian here from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Winter might seem like an odd time to replace your windows, but now is when you get the best deals. Our Leak Armor installation team will keep your home warm and dry while installing beautiful, new energy-efficient windows. You'll feel the difference right away. Quieter rooms, lower energy bills, and a more comfortable home.
Right now, save $600 on windows and $1,500 on doors from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy 12 months same-as-cash financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
Landlords, listen up. John Curley here from Madrona Financial. Is your property making you money? Madrona's Landlord Exit Workshop is a free event designed to help landlords understand the true numbers behind their rental properties. It's happening in person this Thursday, 3 p.m. at UW Tacoma. Don't miss Madrona's free Landlord Exit Workshop this Thursday at 3 p.m. at the UW Tacoma campus. Space is limited to RSVP. Call 833-673-7373. Reserve your spot now or sign up at madronafinancial.com/events.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
The real estate market is picking up and you want to sell with the best. You need to work with the Novak team. Mike Novak guarantees to sell your home in 21 days. If not, he'll sell it for free. Go to meetthenovaks.com. I'll spell it for you. Meet the Novaks Novaks.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granello. For the first time, we are getting a look at that body camera video of the Christmas Day carjacking of a state patrol trooper. KIRO News Radio's Heather Bosch reports.
Video shows troopers approaching a man walking on Interstate 5, trying to coax him away from the dangerous freeway, even offering to buy him a train ticket.
You guys are being very nice.
He walks away but comes back, this time troopers pleading.
Get off the road, please, please.
The man opens one trooper's car door and slams her to the ground.
No!
The suspect drives off, but another trooper bumps his cruiser into that stolen patrol car, stopping it. No one was seriously injured. The suspect was arrested on felony charges.
State lawmakers are advancing a bill that would limit when officers can cover their faces. Senator Javier Valdez from Seattle says he drafted that bill after watching ICE and border agents.
Seeing law enforcement officers throughout the country bringing intimidation tactics and causing fear in neighborhoods, in our families, and our communities.
Bill says anyone detained by an officer who violates the rule could then file a civil lawsuit. Supporters say ICE agents wear masks to protect their identities and to prevent retaliation and doxing. U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments today in a pair of cases involving transgender athletes. CBS legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum says the conservative majority appears to be siding with states that want to ban trans females from competing in sports.
A majority of the justices either believe that transgender women have biological advantage over girls and women, and Title IX has been indispensable to creating equality between the sexes in the federal funding of sports programs.
Inflation continued to grow at a steady pace in December. CBS's Jason Brooks has those numbers.
The government's consumer price index rose 2.7%, slightly above estimates, although the core rate gain of 2.6% was below expectations. And the Fed focuses more on the core rate since it factors out food and gas prices, and the Fed is more worried about sticky inflation in services.
Here in the greater Seattle area, inflation increased 3.1% overall. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:34. Here's Nate Connors.
All right, KIRO Newsradio App has this update. Well, we're beginning to see our backups pick up in all the usual places for this time of day. Nothing heavy yet. South 5 into Seattle at the West Seattle Bridge. Your right lane is blocked by road maintenance crews. This is right next to the off-ramp. But the backup isn't bad, but it does start to slow near 520. North 5, we've got scattered backups approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal Bridge. Westbound 520 is packed at Montlake over to I-5. Otherwise, our lake bridges are all clear. South 405 is thick through Factoria. Bellevue to Renton still an easy 15-minute commute. Seattle to Federal Way is at a half hour. We've got building volumes along South Center. And in Kent, we cleared our crash southbound 167 at South 277th. We're left with a backup, though, from South 212th to the scene, and then more slowing between Algona and Sumner. Right now, Renton to Puyallup is close to a 40-minute trip. Text app APP to 888-973-5476 and download the KIRO News Radio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
And your forecast now seeing mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few sun breaks this afternoon and highs in the mid to upper 50s. Although right now it's 62 in Tacoma, 55 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill, along with Angela Poe Russell, and for Jake Skorheim today. By the way, if you have an opinion about anything we have been covering today, whether it's the immigration and custom enforcement teams in America, or if it's
health insurance,
or Walmart's employment records, please feel free to text the show 888-973-5476. We love input from the audience. We will read the best of those back today at 2:45, as we always do. Listeners texted into the show during my last little bit of rant about Walmart being the evil empire. And said, he said it was a straw man argument. Is that what I'm going to paraphrase the texter, said if people don't like working at Walmart for low wages, they should go work elsewhere.
They should just go somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I would offer, just think about this for a second. You may be right. I'm just giving my opinion on things and how I feel. If you don't agree, that's great. That's what I love about this country. But if the better job was available, wouldn't they take it? Why would someone work at Walmart for wages that qualify them for federal assistance if there was a better option out there?
I know.
Laura pointed out, when Walmart comes to certain communities, Walmart comes to town, and they buy in bulk, and they deal in mass volume, and they can undercut prices, and they put a lot of small businesses out of business. And then the only employment opportunity for a lot of these people is the local Walmart. I've seen it dozens and dozens and dozens of times across communities all across the country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 70% of people who receive federal SNAP assistance or Medicaid assistance, 70% of them work full-time.
They work full-time.
At low-paying jobs, low-wage jobs. It's not just Walmart. Don't get me wrong. We talked earlier today about how the Blue Star Cafe is closing down in Wallingford because they just can't afford to stay in business anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the rising costs of small businesses, especially restaurants, is labor costs. Yep. The city wants to pay a living wage, but that money comes out of a business owner's pocket. And I understand Walmart, you know, they're a business owner. They have a chance. That's what makes America great is capitalism. Mm-hmm. But if you're the most profitable, the largest private employer in America, and your profit for the third quarter alone was $6 billion, you shouldn't need the government to spend, estimates that $6 billion a year of taxpayer money goes to subsidize Walmart's workforce.
Yeah, and I love what you said, that 70% of people who are needing food assistance actually work full-time jobs. And I was actually debating in a friendly way with one of our listeners who is, you know, we were just having a nice, rigorous debate about it. Sure. Like, what should happen in the case where someone is working 40 hours a week and yet it doesn't pay the rent or food or health care? Like, what is the obligation? Like, what do you do? And one thing he was saying, okay, well, you could work a second job. And I was saying how I remember meeting this server at Olive Garden, and she said she was on her second job, so she worked 2 jobs. But then her kid, she had a 10-year-old son at home who I don't know where the dad was, but apparently she was a single mom. And so no supervision because she's working the 2 jobs. And that's not good for society. It's not good for the kid. It's not good all the way around, right?
It's not an easy solution, or we'd solve it.
The big question is, if someone is working full-time, do we believe that if you work full-time that should cover expenses to live? And I don't know that everyone feels that way. They feel like, hey, this job should be for a teenager.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. None of these jobs, a lot of people have and I think it's an antiquated perspective, that these fast food jobs or these retail jobs at Walmart or wherever it is not a career job. It's an entry-level job. Do me a favor. Next time you go through any fast food, I want to pick on McDonald's, but they are also one of the largest employers in America whose workforce qualifies for federal assistance, not just Walmart, but also McDonald's. Look behind the counter, look in the kitchen of the drive-through window. Those aren't teenagers all the time. Sometimes they are. A lot of times those are grown adults.
Yeah.
Who are working full-time jobs, who are qualifying for federal assistance.
Yeah, I worked at Popeyes when I was a teenager, and there was only one other teen I worked with. The others had been working they were adults, and they had been working at Popeyes for years. I still remember their names. These were people who had families, and I never got into their personal lives to see how they survived, but I definitely wasn't working with other teens.
Right, and the examples for companies who do business that care for and compensate their employees are everywhere. Look at Costco. They're a massive corporation that pays a living wage. Their employees love them. They give benefits. Look at Dick's Burgers. That company, that family.
Oh, they have benefits. Starbucks.
Right.
I mean, and look, people have taken issue with Starbucks, but they are still better than most.
They really are.
And employees acknowledge that. They are better than most.
You can do business and still treat your employees humanely, responsibly, so that the federal taxpayer doesn't have to subsidize these people. You know, I don't understand why somebody, after you've turned that much profit, you shouldn't be coming to you and me to help pay your workforce, provide them health care through Medicaid. That just doesn't seem fair. Yeah. I want to get to this stuff before we run out of time. I know we're coming up against the clock pretty quick here. Storage units in Seattle. A story in the Seattle Times yesterday speaks about one particular storage unit company over in Woodinville. Woodinville Self-Storage. It was a family-owned business. The current owner inherited from their parents. They say in the story from the Times that there are 240,000 apartments worth of storage space in Seattle alone. And you don't have to go far to drive in any direction and you'll see self-storage. Mm-hmm. There's national companies, there's local organizations. The Woodinville self-storage is locally owned, locally operated. We have too much stuff. We just have too much stuff as a culture. I'm the worst example on the planet. I know my problem. I talked to a doctor about it. I got talk.
Oh, really? Can you tell us? Well, what's the issue?
I should start by saying I don't know if I've ever sold anything I've ever owned. Unless the car broke down or I donated it to charity. I've never sold a car.
So tell us about that. What makes you not want to sell something or get rid of it?
Well, I'm not a hoarder, but I have it. I wonder why. I'll quit dancing. Okay. I burned my house down as a teenager. Burned my family's home to the ground accidentally.
Oh, you did.
And we lost everything. And now, much like someone who survived the Great Depression,
you want to hold on to your things.
I want to hold on to everything.
Oh.
We have a house that's too big for us. When we bought our home, we had 2 kids and my mother-in-law living with us.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just the wife and I. The oldest is married and moved out. Mother-in-law moved to Albuquerque in retirement. My youngest is off to college. It's just the two of us in 3,800 square feet. We text each other, what do you want for dinner at my house?
Right. It's a big house.
We have 3 different cable packages in different parts of our it's ridiculous. My house is full of stuff. I've got a storage unit I've had for 20 years. I've had a storage unit for 20 years. And it's not because I don't have room in my house. I mean, it is. It's because I don't have room in my house. My house is full of stuff. My storage unit is full of stuff. I need to get rid of my stuff. But I'm not alone. People move to town. They take jobs with these big employers like Amazon or Google or Microsoft or Facebook or whomever. You move to town to take a job in the tech sector in Seattle. I love our industry here. You move to town and you can't afford a home because you're just new to town. You bring all your stuff from Minnesota or Wisconsin or California, wherever you came from. You can't keep all your stuff in your apartment downtown. So you get a storage unit. And it sits there until you can afford, save enough money to buy a home. So what's the solution? We either have to get rid of the stuff, but I think the bigger solution is affordable housing in this town. Wouldn't that solve just almost every problem we have?
And I think getting to the deeper issue, because here's what's
Quit burning
interesting.
your house down. You want
I could have easily just judged, because at first when you told me this, I wanted to judge you on the surface. Like, Spike, you have 3,800 square foot home and you got a storage unit. This is ridiculous. Knock it off. And then you told me a little bit about your why.
Yeah.
And it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're going to work through it.
But
And believe it or not, all the organizing experts say most of the time when people hold on to stuff, it's a heart, it's a mental,
emotional.
it's emotional.
Yeah, it's an emotional mental issue.
It's holding on to an older version of yourself or all kinds of things. So, but I love this as a reminder, maybe not to judge initially on things.
Look at you.
Until
That's
you
sweet.
get to know the person.
Right.
I love
don't
getting
judge
to know
a person
you.
until you've walked a mile through their smoked house, they're burnt to the ground.
That's awful. That's so traumatic.
I did it twice, by the way.
What were you doing? Were you smoking?
No, first one was a candle. I was a teenager. I fell asleep with a candle burning in my room. Woke up to my whole home on fire. God. And the house burned to the ground. We lost everything.
Oh.
Yeah. And everybody lived. We
Thank
started
God.
over. Yeah, I love my brother and sister. They owe their life to me.
What did your parents do? Like, did you get a spanking, or were they too shocked to?
That's a story for another show because it's too long. My parents didn't know it was me. The insurance company said it was an electrical fire, and I said I shut my mouth because we got an insurance check. Boom. How's that? Fact. You never heard that story?
Okay.
No.
We're all shocked.
I'll tell you the story when I finally confessed to my father on air. But we got to go. We're out of time. We'll be back after these with your text of the day. Maybe I'll tell the second half of that story first. We'll do that. Don't go anywhere. You'll hear what happened when I told my dad I burned our house down.
He's the new face of Seattle radio.
Wait, it's the same dude, only his face is new? Okay, got it.
Isn't John supposed to be back today?
Ursula, that is John.
Where on his body they're filling that face from?
Looking good, John. Remember, ice packs are your best friend.
Man, it is hard to do a radio show with a bag on your head.
The same John Curley you know and love with a brand new face. Literally. See for yourself on the KIRO Newsradio YouTube page.
Thank you, Dr. Wagner. I have a really bad left hip. In fact, this other doctor's like, well, you're going to have to get a hip replacement. I was like, oh, my God. He goes, how old are you? I told him, well, you're going to have to wait a couple of years because we don't want you to wear the hip out. We want you and the hip to both go to heaven together. I was like, well, in the meantime, well, try stretching, aspirin. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm in pain. I can't sleep. I could barely walk. I'd get off a plane, and I'm like struggling to even make it down the ramp. I go to see Dr. Wagner. He explains to me how the stem cell procedure works. It's 90 minutes, and I'm telling you right now, I love it. So rather than surgery, make an appointment to see Dr. Wagner. It could be the game changer for you, like it's been for a whole bunch of other people as well. So whether it's your hip or your wrist or your shoulder, your knee, check out Dr. Mark Wagner. I'm telling you right now, stem cell procedure could be the answer for you, as it's been for me. You want to find out more? drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
At Bible Law Group, our team reflects the same lessons learned by our founder, James Bible, while playing for legendary Husky coach Don James. Coach James always said it's amazing what gets done when nobody claims credit. That's the philosophy we carry into every case, because your victory is what matters at Bible Law Group. When your legal problems hit biblical levels and you feel like you're stuck in a lion's den of litigation, you need a legal team that won't back down. At Bible Law, we've secured over $40 million in settlements for our clients, and we're ready to fight for you. Find us online at BibleLawGroup.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through January 25th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
Cold is leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Excite Fight Live MMA brings you a night of raw adrenaline and heart-pounding action. See the fiercest fighters go head-to-head at Muckleshoot Casino Resort at 7 p.m. on Saturday, January 31st. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours before they're gone at MuckleshootCasino.com. It's a fight night like you wouldn't believe. Don't miss live MMA Saturday, January 31st at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, Sound Path Through Retirement, with Ben Koval and Matt Leibarger. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and noon on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
It's a new year, which means a new opportunity to grow your business. WaFd Bank Business Checking can help you hit the ground running. Our accounts are designed to help business owners like you manage cash flow, pay vendors, and keep operations running smoothly every day. Get access to digital tools like bill pay, mobile deposit, signer and non-signer debit cards, and the option to upgrade your account as your business grows. WaFd Business Bankers get to know you, so when you need help, we're there for you. WaFd Bank, built for business. Visit wafdbank.com. Non-sufficient funds charges may apply. Member FDIC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
No heat, electrical issues, frozen pipes, no power? John Curley here, recommending you call Home Comfort Alliance. For over 40 years doing heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical right, including standby generators. Call the comfort people at HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Hey there, Dawn Riley with Olympic Hot Tub. It's our clearance savings spectacular, and you don't want to miss it. We're slashing prices on all 2025 hot tubs, saunas, and swim spas. Even bigger savings on floor models ready for delivery. And here's the best part, 0% interest financing through 2031. That's right, no interest for 5 years. Ends January 25th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
All right, we're
we're back, and I'll get to this. I will tell this story. I really hadn't realized I hadn't told the story to this audience yet. So when I was 16, I burned my family's house to the ground by accident. I lit a candle, fell asleep, my house burned down. The insurance company said it was electrical. My parents got a check, so I kept my mouth shut. We're doing a radio show in Seattle 30 years later, basically. And we're talking about, what's the biggest secret you ever kept in your life? And somebody else says, Bob Rivers said, I had a key to my high school, and we used to sneak in at night. So blah, blah, blah. And I said, I burned my parents' house to the ground. They don't know it was me. We got to tell the next thing is, we got to tell your dad. We got to call and tell your parents. I'm like, okay, because I'm a moron. We call my dad, and we confess to my father, you remember, Dad, God, I love you, but it was me. I accidentally started the fire that burned the house down. I've been living all these years with it. I just wanted to let you know, and I feel bad about it, and I'm sorry that we did it, and that changed our lives. And my old man started laughing, and Bob's like, you're taking this really well. You're really taking this well. He said, let me tell you a story. He said, 30 years ago, or whatever it was when Spike moved to Seattle with you, the last night he was in Baltimore, before he was moving across the country, we took him out and he got drunk. And at that bar, he was so drunk, he confessed to me that he'd burned the house down. He goes, that was 15 years ago. I've known for 15 years. This guy was so stupid, he got drunk and confessed and forgot he confessed. So I've been living with that guilt for an additional unnecessary 15 years. I already confessed and forgot because I was drunk when I did it.
I feel so seen right now. This is so relatable, Spike.
Anyway, that's
awesome.
That's the story of my life.
That's awesome.
Take from it what you will.
I love the text line today. You guys have been engaging and amazing. Listen, like, Angela, what are you doing here with your... Anyway, I just love it.
I love you.
I love it.
And you'll be back tomorrow.
I'll be back
Jake's
tomorrow.
A couple days to
yeah.
be
No, I love having... My husband says, Angela, you like to poke the bear. I'm like, yes, I do enjoy debates.
You're in the perfect chair.
Right?
Great. Laura, why don't you start us with the text responses from our audience today?
Yeah, on selling your Seahawks tickets, Jess in Utah says, I still agree with G. If you're a real Seahawks fan, you shouldn't sell tickets to our team. Love y'all and see...
Thank you.
Jenny from Edmonds, I completely agree with what the Seahawks are doing. There are people that are diehard fans that want to go to every single game and can't get season tickets. They're on a 10-year wait list, while these people that are going to the games and selling to the other team hold them for years and make money off of them.
On Downtown Joe, who I mentioned earlier, got an email from the team saying, if you sell these tickets, and it's been reported in the news, you may lose your right to renew. Years ago, Downtown Joe purchased a massive amount of internet domain names, hoping to cash in one day. Did he ever, in fact, cash in on those things? No, but Joe's also the guy who one time speculated on what was the Wiggles? Remember the Wiggles, the kid band?
Yeah.
Joe tried to Joe tried to buy a bunch of Wiggles tickets, thinking that he was going to sell them, scalp them, and ended up losing his shirt. So
the Wiggles,
the kid band, the Australian
show.
band with the blue shirt.
He was trying to fleece toddlers.
He was trying to corner the market on Wiggles tickets. So I
taking
feel no
Wiggles
sympathy.
from a baby.
Yes. On Road Rage Uses feed, Jeff and Bonnie Lake says bicycle lanes cost money and increase traffic congestion. Tax bicycles. That is all. Thank you.
You know, something else we talked about is why we love competency porn, watching shows where people are showing their expertise and how amazing they are at this one thing. Cletus and Federal Way said Laura would love Doogie Howser. It was a young Neil Patrick Harris playing a genius, smart, double hockey sticks. Is that it? No.
Yeah,
double hockey sticks is L's.
Yes,
we're looking for S's here.
He's
that's what I said.
A genius, smart
that's
donkey.
what I said.
Yeah.
That's what, thank you.
Scott on Orca says, Spike, you can play music. Don't sell yourself short. As a 55-year-old that's been trying to learn how to play guitar for the last 5 years, I envy what you can do. Although the rock and roll lawyer has a nice ring to it.
Go for it, Scott. Yeah, do it. On raising healthcare costs, Mark Linwood says healthcare in this country will never change until they go to a non-profit health system like most of the modern world does today. So we'll leave it at that. You're absolutely right. We'll be back tomorrow, guys. Thanks so much for the time. Angela, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
The new and improved John Curley and John Curley Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
After a slugfest to win the NFL's toughest division, the number 1 seed Seahawks' first playoff opponent, naturally an NFC West rival.
And Purdy goes down inside the 15-yard line.
Seahawks, 49ers, Saturday. And Lumen will be rocking.
All teed up.
The road to the Super Bowl runs through Seattle. And KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM and the KIRO News Radio app.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When the new year hits, every business could use a little something to stay ahead. A lift, a jump start, an edge, or perhaps a boost. Like the all-new 5-year business boost from Comcast Business. It's the certainty of a price lock for 5 years on qualifying internet bundles. Plus, you'll have the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment, so your whole team can stay connected at a great rate. And to sweeten the deal, ask about a $500 prepaid card when you add 2 lines of mobile. It's the boost your business deserves. So sign up for the 5-year business boost and get a 5-year price lock on ultra-reliable Wi-Fi. Plus, ask about a $500 prepaid card. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/22/26, new customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees. Best Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, here's a quick confession. The reason Nick, my wife, is going to Longevity Medical Clinic is because why?
I got sick of watching you sleep at night when I was awake.
Wait a minute. Wait. Here's what would happen. I'd be asleep because I've got my hormones balanced thanks to Longevity Medical Clinic. I'm asleep, and then Nick would go, "Are you asleep? Are you sleeping? That's not fair. I can't sleep." I'm like, "So you're going to wake me up?"
Yes, because I didn't want you to have more energy than I would the next day, and I was up all night.
So what did I say to you? I said, so go to the Longevity Medical Clinic. Do the same thing I did. Get your hormones balanced. You'll sleep better, right?
And I did.
Right. You don't have to wake me up anymore and go, it's not fair that you're sleeping.
I know.
But didn't you see that it wasn't fair that you were waking me up?
Yes, because now you're the one taking the dogs out because I'm still asleep in the morning.
So we're both getting good night's sleep. We're both getting lots of energy, and we're happy.
You want me to tell you why? Because my hormones are now balanced.
Okay, I don't want to hear about your hormones right now. So be like Nick and get a free health analysis at LM.